ground visiting Baula village outside Giyani, one of the hardest hit locations. Mongezi Koko is there.
The president conducted a brief walkabout through the village, seeing firsthand the damage left by days of relentless rain. Homes reduced to rubble, belongings buried in mud and debris, yet despite their losses, residents lined the streets to welcome the president. Ramaphosa offered his condolences to the family of a 5-year-old boy who died during the flooding, while assuring community members that government is working to provide assistance.
Collating all the information, people who either have gone missing or have passed away.
After spending just over 15 minutes in the area, the president departed by helicopter as rain clouds continued to build, while displaced residents remained behind, facing an uncertain road to recovery. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
The police's head of crime intelligence, Dumsani Khumalo, says some highly trained combat members of the SAPS in Gauteng are moonlighting for crime syndicates. Khumalo says following an analysis, they found that almost the whole of the SAPS in Gauteng is working for the cartel based in the province. Khumalo made the startling revelations during his evidence before Parliament's ad hoc committee that's investigating police corruption yesterday. Babalon Denza reports.
Dumsani Khumalo told the ad hoc committee that Gauteng organized crime investigations were compromised because some members were also working for the very crime syndicates they were investigating. He also told MPs of how one Joburg Metro Police officer was also working part-time for individuals like alleged crime syndicate member Katiso KT Molefe, who undertook suspicious interventions on Molefe's behalf.
During the analysis and the threat and risk assessment, it had come out that almost the whole of SAPS in Gauteng is working for the cartel.
He says highly trained combat members were also working for crime syndicates when they're off duty, creating more complications.
There is this, what is happening in Gauteng, where the highly trained combat members of SAPS are moonlighting for the cartels.
Khumalo said they managed to gather a lot of information and identified a lot of the members involved. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Former DA Federal Finance Chairperson Dion George has accused the party of being captured by the ANC, saying it's willing to do anything to stay in the government of national unity. George announced his resignation from the DA yesterday after 31 years in the organization. His exit comes after a public spat between him and the party's leader John Steenhuisen. Tabiso Koba reports.
In his resignation letter, Dion George accuses the DA party leader John Steenhuisen of muzzling the party's parliamentary caucus on speaking out against the country's race laws and its foreign policy. He says the party has compromised its principles and values at the expense of staying in the GNU. However, political analyst Levi Ndo says this sounds like sour grapes from George, as he never vocalized these issues when he was still a minister within the GNU.
If the GNU was good at the time he was serving it, what makes it bad now that he's no longer in the GNU? So that's what I'm saying. We shouldn't take that as a very genuine reason. It's just a convenient reason.
Responding to George's resignation, the DA says it's unfortunate he left before his disciplinary hearing, where he was facing allegations of bringing the party into disrepute, among other things. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
And Uganda's Electoral Commission says early provisional results from the presidential election show President Yoweri Museveni leading with more than 61% of valid votes counted so far. Votes continue to be counted amid an internet shutdown and accusations of rigging of the elections. Opposition leader Bobi Wine claims that massive ballot stuffing was reported everywhere without providing documentary proof. The authorities have not responded to his allegations of fraud and his claim that many polling agents and supervisors belonging to his NUP party and others were chased off polling stations. Delays of up to 4 hours have been blamed on malfunctioning biometric machines that were used to verify voters' identities. 81-year-old Museveni is seeking to extend his nearly 4 decades in power. Electoral Commission Chairperson Simon Mungenyi read out the numbers of votes so far.
Yoweri to Haburwa Kaguta Museveni, NRM, 14,232 votes, representing 61.7% of valid votes cast so far. Total number of valid votes for all the candidates so far is 23,486 49. Invalid votes so far, 796, representing 3.34% of the total votes cast.
Gold is trading at $4,616.66 an ounce. The rand is at 16.35 to the dollar, 21.88 to the pound, 18.98 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $66.52 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got faulty traffic lights reported in Edenville at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeek Road. Please be on the lookout there. There's also faulty traffic lights in Sandton at the M1 South and Greyston Drive.
And in your sport, Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns escaped tough draws for the Nedbank Cup round of 32, but Kaizer Chiefs got Stellenbosch. Paarl Royals through to the SA20 playoffs thanks to O'Neil Bartman's 5 for 16. That included a hat-trick. And bad day the Dakar for Lataghan and Cummins, who lost close to 2 hours in the field, dropping them from 2nd to 23rd overall.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg starting at 16 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 17 and 28. Vereeniging 17 as well, and a high of 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The South African Weather Service has issued its highest alert for more heavy rain in Limpopo today as the province grapples with floods.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
It's 8 minutes after 6 o'clock. It is a Friday. It's the 16th of January 2026. Welcome one, welcome all. On our menu today, we are going to delve into the political week that was. Big news yesterday, the resignation of Deon George as a member of the Democratic Alliance. The former minister says his party has been captured by the ANC in the run-up to the Blue Party's electoral congress in the next few months. Does it put the DA front and center of the same battles that we have seen in the other party? President Ramaphosa is commonly referred to by those who read into these matters as indecisive. Some even use the word weak. There's a thoughtful piece in today's Mail and Guardian that argues the opposite. We'll put some of those issues to Sandy Leswana, our political analyst in the political desk. We've got the statistician general talking to us about the real figures that policies are decided on in South Africa. Many questioning some of the results of the 2022 census. Do they still stand by the numbers? What about the vacancies within Stats SA? Their overdraft, 1.19 billion rand. Can the statistician general give us answers to some of those questions? That's our big interview. Just before 9, we speak to the legend herself, Professor Zanele Moholi. It's a show!
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
10 minutes after 6 o'clock, my name is Bongani Bingwa. And of course, as always, I'm not alone. The entire team is with us this morning. In the studio with me is Palisa, who's going to be pressing all the buttons and the gizmos and responsible for the sounds that you hear. But of course, my esteemed colleagues, Muteo Kharipe and Amugelang Ramila. You know what we do? It's 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Do we keep the tradition alive?
What did
1,
you
2, 3.
What did you say?
A 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 5.
It's a Friday. It's a Friday. It's a Friday.
There we go. Even Amo was on note, was on key there this morning. So it's a brand new year, a brand new you.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
We have a shout out, as you will know, if you listen to the show quite regularly. And really the shout out is to kind of have a discussion about something that we think is important in the news cycle. And as a way to illustrate that, we perhaps delve into the conversation in a personable way. And this morning, I'm asking perhaps a question that is not a typical Friday one, but have you experienced betrayal personally, either in your family, in a relationship, perhaps by a colleague or even a friend. You don't have to tell us the details. We'll welcome them if you want to. But how did you get over it? Were you able to ever trust either that individual or in general? Do you get over a betrayal? Have you experienced a betrayal, Amo?
Oh, many times.
It hurts like hell, doesn't it?
Many times it hurts like hell. You tell your colleague about something that happened maybe between you and your other colleague, and they go and they tell them exactly what if you are my friend, Bongs, I feel like when I'm free around you, I don't need to say this is between you and I. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just telling you because I feel...
Was this their explanation that you didn't say I can't?
Yes. I mean, I didn't say that you can go tell them, but at the same time, I didn't expect you to. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you about, Palisa did this, and then, while we were talking, this and this happened, and then eventually... I was talking to Palisa about Bongani, then Bongani confronts me about that issue. I was just like,
And you've got nowhere to hide because you did say those things.
Yeah, and I was saying those things to Palisa to vent or to, try and get my frustrations to be heard about Bongani. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not to say that I wouldn't be able to raise those issues with Bongani a bit later on, or when I feel like the tension would have.
But perhaps
eased
you want
out.
some advice, some guidance.
Advice.
How do I deal with it?
No, I'm actually you the crazy one, or no, maybe you should approach it like. But I mean, I've learned my lesson now. Now I don't do that.
Ever trust that
anymore.
person again?
No. I mean, I don't trust them, of course, but also I don't trust anyone. Like, I wouldn't come to Bongani and talk about Muteo or tell Bongani about what Muteo and I were talking. No, I don't do that.
Moral of the story, go to Muteo, right?
Straight to Muteo.
Yeah. Muteo? Betrayal?
Yeah.
Is it something you get over?
I've tasted betrayal. I do get over it because I feel like you are
Really?
the one that betrayed me, so I can't carry that shame my whole life.
Sure, but does it not affect who you become? It may be that you forgive the person.
Of course it does.
Right? It may be that you've forgiven that person and you're not holding a grudge or anything of that sort. But doesn't it change who you are?
You become more cautious. You become more cautious, but also I'm very wary about changing who I am because of something that happened to me. Because you still have to live a life. You still have to, for instance, experience someone new. Let's say you were betrayed in love. You can't then all of a sudden say, I'm going to be single.
Because all these relationships are like this, Van.
You still have to be open to that.
But you'll be cautious, as you say.
Yeah.
We'll explain why we're asking this question. Any experiences with betrayal, whether in a personal or intimate setting or professional setting, or even within your family or wider friendship circle? We'll explain why we're asking that question. But do send us a voice note on 072-702-1702.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
15 minutes after 6 o'clock, the South African Weather Service issuing its highest alert for more heavy rains in Limpopo. And if you've seen the visuals on television, entire communities really deluged with these waters and houses buried. Even the bridges, you can see that it would be difficult to even cross some of these bridges. Some of them, of course, completely falling apart. The Kruger, some of those chalets completely buried in some cases by some of these flood waters. Schools in parts of Limpopo remain closed, roads damaged, as I say. Many people, of course, displaced from their homes since the conditions started on Monday. The president, quite shocked, visiting some of the sites. I think he was outside Giyani just yesterday, one of the hardest hit locations. We're keeping an eye on that story. Our EWN reporter, Mongezi Koko, is in Limpopo and he's going to be giving us updates. But if you are from Limpopo, I'd love to hear from you in terms of how you have been affected, family members, loved ones back home. What are your concerns? But it's certainly a big story, and it just goes to show these climate and weather patterns are not what we would normally expect, are they?
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
All right, let's get straight to it. 16 minutes after 6 o'clock. One of the big stories, of course, emerging from yesterday was that ad hoc committee looking at allegations of criminality within our law enforcement. Yesterday, it was the turn of Crime Intelligence Head General Dumisani Khumalo. And one of the things that he said that was quite extraordinary for me was how he said essentially he doesn't trust Gauteng SAPS, the police in Gauteng. He says essentially when it comes to these criminal cartels are not to be trusted. Have a listen.
Highly trained combat members of SAPS are moonlighting for the cartels. In other words, working outside their working hours. It happened to the team, I think, on 2 occasions when they are moving with the combat teams from Gauteng. They get to a cartel member, and then the member will ask, hey, what are you doing here? Because you were with me last weekend working for me.
Hey? Just that brazenly. How does that sit with you? He went on to say that organized crime cannot flourish, it cannot thrive without inside men within the police.
In the criminal justice system, it has been internationally proven that for any organized crime to thrive, the cartel must infiltrate or gain support from powerful figures within the criminal justice system. I've made an example of SAPS. I'm also going to take a lot on DPCI with our operations. They do that because there are 2 ways. It has been a career within a career from SAPS to provide protection for a fee. Not sure that it qualifies to be an extortion.
Right? A career within a career. Don't you as a citizen then feel betrayed? That's how I feel. It's a complete, but to serve and to protect. To serve and to protect. And this isn't just about rank and file police officers. This goes all the way to the top. Doesn't it feel a little like a betrayal? He said more.
In my position, if I'm able to protect you, then there is a protection fee that you must continuously pay. So it's a fact. That is only done to sustain the activities or to protect the activities of the syndicate and these professional criminals.
Right? Come on. That is a betrayal. The people you think are there to serve and to protect, to uphold the law, working hand in glove. So remember he was explaining in the context of that political killings task team, and he says this is why they had to bring cops from KZN to investigate cases in Gauteng, because they didn't know whom to trust. They did not know who amongst their own they could trust, and so they had to bring these guys from KZN to investigate some of these cases because they knew many of their members are compromised by these cartels. You know when you trust someone and you tell them everything, they know, they've seen your soft underbelly. They know your vulnerabilities. They know your weaknesses. They know your insecurities. They know exactly where to hit. And you find out that very person who knows everything has been sharing that information and using it against you. What's your experience with betrayal? I, as a South African, listening to that, and if all of that bears out and it is true, I feel betrayed. Don't you?
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Muteo Khadipa, you've got a question of your own?
Simple question this morning, and let's all be honest. What are you quitting this year and why?
Okay, I'm not quitting it for all the year. My goal is 100 days.
What are you quitting?
I'm on day 20 of not drinking alcohol.
Okay, that's
and my
good.
goal is to go for 100 days.
And more.
Consecutively.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I feel like if I get to day 100, it's going to be very difficult for me to go on to day,
you basically
to have a drink on 101.
Close to kicking the habit.
Yeah. Who knows where it might lead, but at least I'm going for 100. And I'm completely bound to this because my adult son and I are doing it together.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you've
I
got
can't let the team
an
down.
accountability
Jonga,
partner. Okay.
of all, I've got the worst, or in this case, best accountability
Yeah.
partner I could possibly have, right? Because as a parent, the one person you never want to let down are your kids, right? The one person you ever want to go, Isa.
I'm hoping he pushes you all the way.
That's what 100 days.
Amo, what are you quitting?
Oh, definitely my favorite, chocolate. Just for, I think, the first 3 months of the year. Please don't look at me like that.
I'm going to go to the canteen a little
no,
later.
you don't have to. And
You're
no
so
chocolate
mean.
biscuits, no chocolate cake. No, I'm just trying to put away chocolate for a little bit and see if I can survive a week without having a chocolate.
For me, it's fizzy drinks. So if you see me anywhere near the canteen or anywhere drinking a fizzy drink, you must
Not even a light or a zero.
No.
Not even sparkling water?
Because that's how you go back.
Sparkling water should be allowed.
Flavored sparkling water?
No, you don't have to worry about me and sparkling water. I'll
Not
always taking still, yeah.
Okay. I love sparkling water. I love it. It's the one little fizz I've got left in my life. All right. I'm curious about what prompts that question.
702.
Weather.
What conditions can you expect this Friday? This EWN weather is brought to you by me. A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers. Temperatures peaking at 26 degrees in Johannesburg. 28 is your high in Vereeniging. 23 in Bombela. 34 in Bloemfontein. Durban also scattered showers peaking at 28. Gqeberha 20. East London 21. Cape Town maxes at 27 degrees.
EWN Traffic.
Now, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Our first look at the roads. Amo, what are you seeing?
Well, Bongani, Kempton Park, Pomona, we've got an accident reported on the R21 South. It's right near Atlas Road. It's causing heavy delays coming out of Pomona Road. So please do expect about a 15-minute hold-up already. So at this particular moment, it could take you about 20 minutes to get towards the Kilulis interchange due to that delay. So please try to avoid it. You can still use the N17 as well as the N12 West into areas like Edenville as well as Germiston. And then traveling on the N3 North, we've got delays between the Elands interchange and the Geldenhuys interchange. Peak time delays there. There's also peak time pressure reported along the N1 North between Malibongo Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive heading towards the Four Ways area. More updates coming up, but if you see anything else, we're on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a parent and a nervous but excited kid practicing her lines to put on a show-stopping performance at the school play. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a future superstar on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
25 minutes after 6 o'clock, we're asking you a very simple question this morning. Have you experienced betrayal? And how did you deal with it? Do you get over it? I feel a sense of betrayal by hearing that basically, in general, Gauteng SEPs, many of the individuals who are at the top of the criminal law enforcement system, of law enforcement rather, in Gauteng, are working hand in glove with the criminals. This is according to the head of crime intelligence, General Khumalo, who was testifying at the ad hoc committee in Parliament. What did you make of that?
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Let's tell you now about things you need to know. So you remember, of course, last year, the Nobel Peace Prize went to the Venezuelan opposition activist Maria Corina Machado. The US President Donald Trump has been all but begging and pleading for this prize to be given to him. So guess what she did? She put her medal in a big plaque thing and went and presented it to Donald Trump.
Can you transfer?
Well, this is what the Nobel Peace Prize Committee has issued a statement to clarify. And they say, look, whatever, you can give your medal, that's fine. But the prize is not transferable. It cannot be given to anybody else. In fact, she was speaking to reporters after presenting that US president with the medal at the White House yesterday. And this was her explanation.
I presented the President of the United States the medal of the Nobel Peace Prize, and I told him this. Listen to this. 200 years ago, General Lafayette gave Simón Bolívar a medal with George Washington's face on it. Bolívar since then kept that medal for the rest of his life. Actually, when you see his portraits, you can see the medal there. And it was given by General Lafayette as a sign of the brotherhood between the United States, people of the United States and the people of Venezuela in their fight for freedom against tyranny. And 200 years in history, the people of Bolivar are giving back to the heir of Washington a medal, in this case a medal of the Nobel Peace Prize, as a recognition for his unique commitment with our freedom.
So, General Lafayette was an American revolutionary general. He was of French origin, but fought with the Americans in the American Revolution, and gave Simón Bolívar, who was essentially the George Washington of Venezuela, a medal with Washington's face on it. So she's trying to echo that history by giving the Nobel Prize as a sign of Bolivar's people's gratitude towards Donald Trump. So I thought that was really very interesting. The Kruger Park, off limits to day visitors, at least for now. This is due to the persistent rain that we've been telling about. Eyewitness News, of course, covering that story quite extensively. We're now seeing European soldiers from France, Germany, Norway, and Sweden arriving in Greenland and landing at strategic points. This after those high-level talks in Washington between Denmark, Greenland, and the US collapsed without agreement. What is that thing you wanted so badly in childhood that you look back now and you think, what was I thinking? As a kid, I wanted nothing more than to have a gold tooth. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember that very well.
So listen, not that you remember me wanting a gold tooth.
Yeah.
You wanted the same, right?
Yeah, it was like a
You wanted
trend.
a gold tooth.
No, I never wanted a gold tooth.
No, come on.
I wanted a gold tooth.
Thank
I
you.
really did.
Thank you. So in 1981, boxer Leon Spinks, right? Remember, he was the one who stripped Muhammad Ali of his heavyweight titles, and he had gold teeth. He was robbed on this day in 1981 of his gold teeth. They took them. It's a true story. Muteo, don't look at me like that. If you're watching us, by the way, live on YouTube, you can see exactly the expression I'm responding to. And I just thought, what's that one thing you wanted as a kid? You wanted it badly.
Do we know what tools they used? That's why I'm giving you the face, because how do you extract a gold tooth during a robbery?
And guess who was born on this day, 1959? Sade Adu, the British singer, songwriter, and the unmistakable voice behind hits like Smooth Operator, No Ordinary Love, By Your Side, Is It a Crime? In an industry built on noise, excess, and screeching and high notes, she has built a career on restraint. Happy birthday, Sade. Do you have a favorite Sade song? For me, it has to be Is It a Crime? The sweetest Taboo comes close, but it is It a Crime? Favorite Sade song?
Sweetest Taboo.
By Your Side.
As good as the first time. Yo, promoters, you are sitting on gold. Give us Sade. Bring Sade to South Africa. Should we start a petition, hey? Swiss Azul.
702.
The newspapers.
What's grabbing your attention in the papers, my friend?
It's Brazil today. Bongani, the former president Jair Bolsonaro, has been transferred to a prison where he will serve his sentence for orchestrating a failed coup in more favorable conditions. So what happened was his family has been complaining. They went as far as going to podcasts and on social media saying that he is not enjoying his stay because
he's not supposed to.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? The one condition that for me, or the complaint that for me got my attention, was the fact that he had aircon in his jail cell, and then they say that it was making a noise and he was not able to sleep. So therefore they want him to be moved to a better cell, and he's been transferred to one with a kitchen, a private outdoor area, and a double bed. So essentially, he's just living in an apartment.
He's in a hotel, basically.
Yeah. So that's what's happening in Brazil this morning.
The big story on the front page of the Business Day, the closure of this BAT factory, putting 35,000 jobs at risk. And I think that's going to be a big story. And we were warned about this when Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma was banning cigarettes during the pandemic. This is where it has led to concerns there, of course, for BAT about illicit cigarettes. Blue lights, fat cats is the front page of The Citizen. 2.5 billion rand is what it will cost South African Police Service for VIP protection for the president and cabinet. The Mail and Guardian is running with inside DA faction wars and Sowetan catastrophe. The president stunned by the damage caused by the floods during a visit to Limpopo.
EWN Business.
What are we quitting this year and why? Muteo Haripe wants to know. What prompts the question?
Bongani, major cigarette manufacturer British American Tobacco, says it will quit producing products in South Africa by the end of the year. The company is shutting down its only manufacturing site in South Africa in Heidelberg after a 70-year presence. Now, Johnny Moloto, head of corporate and regulatory affairs at BAT Sub-Saharan Africa, says with approximately 75% of South African cigarette market now estimated to be illicit. 75% of the market is illicit. Continues. It is not feasible for them to make cigarettes in the country anymore. Manufacturers say illicit trade shot up during the 2020 COVID ban of cigarette trade in South Africa. The South Africa Illicit Economy 2.0 report shows that illegal trade in tobacco and alcohol is estimated to cost the government 30 billion rand in lost revenue. Although they're shutting down that particular facility, BAT has stressed that it is not exiting South Africa entirely. It will retain its secondary listing on the JSE, but more than 230 jobs will be affected.
Where's the rand?
16 Rand 34 against the US dollar, 18 Rand 97 against the euro, and 21 Rand 87 against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,599 an ounce, or platinum at $2,341. Brent crude at $63.52 a barrel. More business after 7.
Straight to the news desk we go. Good morning again, Sfisa Zulu.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. The South African Weather Service has issued its highest alert for more rain in Limpopo today as the province grapples with floods. Schools in some parts remain closed, roads have been damaged, and people have been displaced from their homes since the extreme conditions started on Monday. President Cyril Ramaphosa was there and he joined provincial leaders on the ground visiting Baula village outside Giyani, which is one of the hardest hit locations. Mongezi Koko is in Limpopo.
The president conducted a brief walkabout through the village, seeing firsthand the damage left by days of relentless rain. Homes reduced to rubble, belongings buried in mud and debris, yet despite their losses, residents lined the streets to welcome the president. Ramaphosa offered his condolences to the family of a 5-year-old boy who died during the flooding, while assuring community members that government is working to provide assistance.
Collating all the information, people who either have gone missing or have passed away.
After spending just over 15 minutes in the area, the president departed by helicopter as rain clouds continued to build, while displaced residents remained behind, facing an uncertain road to recovery. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
The Transport Department wants to tighten the country's drunk driving laws as it attributes road fatalities to reckless driver behavior. The department yesterday released the 2025-26 festive season road stats, showing more than 8,600 people were arrested for driving under the influence. Minister Barbara Creasy says they will introduce a policy that prevents any form of drinking and driving.
And that is why we are introducing a new measure, and that measure is to prevent any form of drinking and driving, because all scientific evidence indicates that alcohol intake diminishes concentration.
More than 2,000 Cape Town residents displaced from their homes after a fire are demanding answers from government about emergency rebuilding material, which they say is long overdue. The blaze tore through Site 5 informal settlements in Dunoon last week, destroying more than 600 structures. Affected residents say they are desperate to rebuild and cannot afford to wait any longer, especially with cold and wet conditions worsening their situation. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
Community leaders say while food parcels and temporary assistance are being provided, there's been little clarity on when building materials such as wood, zinc and tools will be delivered. The National Human Settlements Department, however, says the procurement of emergency material is at an advanced stage and will be rolled out as soon as the process is completed. Community leader Zugiswa Kobe says residents want immediate action and are complaining that the delays are prolonging their suffering.
Also, there are some people who are next to my city. That city of Cape Town told them that they mustn't build their shack yet. They must wait for 30 days. So they don't know where they are going to stay for 30 days.
Relief efforts are underway, but the scale of the disaster has overwhelmed the community. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And Cuba has paid tribute to 32 soldiers killed in the U.S. military strike that ousted Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. The troops were honored in a ceremony attended by leader Raul Castro. Havana, under pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump, had authorized 2 days of tributes for the men, some of whom had been assigned to Maduro's protection team. 21 of the soldiers were from the Cuban Interior Ministry, which oversees the intelligence services, and the others were from the country's military. A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 16 and 17 degrees, peaking at highs between 26 and 28.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the R21 South. In fact, an accident is reported in the Kempton Park area right near Atlas Road is causing delays. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid. You can still use Pomona Road and then turn off at the N12. And then if you're traveling on the N3 North, delays between the Geldenhuys interchange and the Kirulis interchange.
The top story this hour, the South African Weather Service has issued its highest alert for more heavy rain in Limpopo today.
There's a new way to experience all your favorites. Pulse Africa, the 24/7 fast channel, now live on PrimeMediaPlus.com and the Prime Media Plus app, bringing you the best of Prime Media around the clock. Watch the biggest moments from 7:02. It's non-stop entertainment and authentic African storytelling, all from Africa's leading media network. Pulse Africa, only on the PrimeMediaPlus.com and Prime Media Plus app.
Mzansi, Powerball has reached a mega 165 million rand estimated jackpot this Friday. That's one of the highest jackpots to hit the country. Play Powerball for an estimated 165 million rand jackpot today for your chance at greatness. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. eTuba is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is streets ahead. Warrior Paints. Affordable, lasting luxury.
Let's hear from Al, owner of Johnson's Cable, why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance.
I thought it was going to be difficult to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance. Switching was so quick and easy. I'm happy with the premium that I'm paying now.
For electrical, tradesman services, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
Statistics can tell us a certain amount, but I would imagine in many ways they raise as many questions as answers. What have you taken from the numbers the minister put out today?
It's a mixed bag. First of all, it's fantastic that the trend is downwards, not only
this festive season compared with last year's festive season. And data is incredibly important. You can't manage what you can't measure. So we, NGOs working in road safety, members of the public, and also government officials, we really need data.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possibility begins here. 702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hi, Bongani. On the topic of what we wanted when we were still kids, I wanted braces, Bongani. And one day I went to the dentist to clean my teeth, and the dentist just started going on about how beautiful my teeth are. And that was it for me. I've never needed braces. I wanted braces when I was still young. I think I still do now, even though I'm in my early 40s.
Morning, Bongani. I remember it like it was yesterday. Yeah, man. Growing up, I also wanted a gold tooth. And actually, I got one. So I got one, and then I had to have my tonsillitis removed. And when I woke up, the thing was gone. So they took it they took it out while I was in op. But listen, I don't regret them taking it out now that I'm older and wiser. Nicholas here, Midrand. Thanks for a great show.
We're talking about the great heavyweight champion, boxing champion, Leon Spinks. He was the one, of course, who stripped Muhammad Ali of his WBA and WBC heavyweight titles. And in 1981, on this day, he was robbed of his gold teeth. And I just remember as a child, for some reason, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Cindy Paluta, you've just walked in. What was that thing you wanted badly, but really badly as a kid, that you now look back and you think, gosh, thank God my parents said no?
Oh, thank goodness. I've never really longed after anything, but I wanted violin lessons.
Oh.
I wanted to learn to play the violin, and I couldn't understand why my mother didn't let me learn the violin. And then my child came home with a recorder one day, like a recorder's like a flute. Toot, toot, toot.
Yeah.
And then my mother went, can you imagine if I'd got you that violin? I said, yo.
EWN Sport.
All right, let's talk about the Nedbank Cup. The draw was done last night.
Yeah, the round of 32. So Orlando Pirates got an easy one. They'll play Chakuma. And then Mamelodi Sundowns also up against Gomora. Both of those are Motsepe League sides. Kaizer Chiefs have a tough battle, though. They travel to Stellenbosch, a repeat of last year's quarter final. Other all premiership draws saw Durban City hosting Chippa. Polokwane takes on Amazulu. Orbit against Arrows. TS Galaxy plays Galants, and Sibulele up against Richards Bay. Also yesterday, the draw for WAFCON, which starts in March, was done. Banyana has been grouped with Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast and Tanzania. SA20 cricket, Paul Royals cruising to a 6-wicket win over Pretoria Capitals. Man of the match, Otniel Bartman, took 5 for 16. Only the second bowler in tournament history to take a hat-trick as the Capitals collapsed to 127 all out. Paul cruised the win with 5 overs to spare through Herman's 46 and Lawrence's 41. They go to the playoffs. Here's the tournament's leading wicket taker, Bartman.
Obviously, I'm very proud. Obviously, T20 cricket is as hard, as difficult. You don't often pick up a lot of wickets, but that means so much to me. I think it means so much to my family as well. Obviously, they support me from the sidelines. Obviously, my wife is back home now. I'm assuming they're screaming back home now. But it's been amazing.
Tennis first Grand Slam of the year, the Australian Open starts Sunday. Two-time defending champion Yannick Sinner opens his campaign against Hugo Gaston.
I would say, the first matches, you try to get used to the match feeling again, and then after you try to add something. But again, we see how things go. We see what conditions we play in. Because today is, for example, very, very windy, so it's completely different than playing, even in the evening or night sessions. So let's see what this season will bring.
And at the Dakar, stage 11, not good for South Africans Latachang and Cummins, who had a technical issue that set them back 1 hour, 40 minutes. That drops them from 2nd to 23rd in the overall standings. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Good morning to Uncle Bongani Bingwa. My name is Riunete Muloy. I am 11 years old. I attend school at Berea Primary School. I love things about art, and when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. and I would like to draw my artworks. I can't wait to join this Whiz quiz with you today. Thank you.
Oh, man. Doctor, artistic as well. 10,000 Rand coming your way. Right? Right?
702. Coming up at 7:15, the big interview. EWN Traffic.
All right, 14 minutes to 7. This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Ford. Live at your peak in the Ford Everest. Now, there are delays in the Kempton Park area. I imagine if you're going to OR Tambo, you're going to have to hurry along now.
Yeah, well, the good news at this particular moment is that accident we spoke about earlier is cleared now, but there's still a bit of a hold-up approaching Atlas Road. So obviously, if you're making your way to the airport, you might be delayed. Expect about a 15-minute hold-up. And then if you want to try and avoid the roadworks, you can use the R23 South and then turning off at the N12 towards the Jet Park area. And then if you're traveling on the N3 North, bumper-to-bumper traffic between the Airlines Interchange and the Kilulis turn off. That's due to peak time pressure there. And then if you're traveling on the N1 North towards Four Ways, delays between Malibongo Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. Please be on the lookout there. I'll have more updates coming up. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
There's heading out for the weekend, and then there's heading out for the weekend in your Ford Everest. With terrain modes for any road conditions and seats comfier than your leather couch, it's not just traveling, it's exploring. That's peak living in the Ford Everest, starting from only 837-500. And with our Ford Family Promise, you have access to a 60-minute express service because your vehicle deserves a pit crew too. Visit your nearest Ford dealer today. T&Cs apply.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Let's give away some cash, shall we? Reuneto is 11 years old and is our contestant today. Wants to be a doctor, but also is a bit of an artist. Which one do you think you're going to love more? Art or medicine? Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good.
What's your favorite thing to draw?
I love drawing cartoons and animals.
Cartoons and animals. Who's your favorite cartoon?
Glamrock Freddy.
Okay. Well, let's see how well you do in the Whiz quiz. Can you draw 10,000 Rand? Let's start the clock. Spell the word proud.
Proud. CROWD.
Proud, not crowd. Proud.
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 Correct. What is half of 80?
40.
Correct. True or false? The gas we breathe in is oxygen.
True.
Correct. The letters VIP stand for very important what?
Very important people.
Person. In which province is the northern part of the Kruger National Park? Is it in Limpopo or KZN?
KZN.
Limpopo. What do snakes lose when they shed?
Snake.
Skin. Their skin. Yeah, we'll give you that one. We'll give you that one. And that gives you a total of 5 correct answers. 5 correct answers. You got proud, 40 true, and skin. And that gives you 4 correct answers. I beg your pardon, 4 correct answers. 400 Rand is what you walk away with. Reuneto, very, very well done. Well played, mate.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand.
Bongani, we've got delays on the R101 that's in the Centurion area. An accident has been reported along this route just as you come out of the N14. Please drive with care. It's causing about a 10-minute hold-up at this particular moment. If you're using this route towards the Pretoria CBD, it could take you about 20 minutes. Please try to use the N14 or the N1 North instead. I'll have more details coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance Pointsman can't help you find your work access card, but they can ease traffic congestion so you can get to the office on time and check under the seat. With Outsurance Pointsman on the roads for the past 20 years, we can all get to where we need to be quickly and safely. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using hashtag #PointsmanLove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
LLB graduates can fast-track their legal career with the Law Society of South Africa's PVT School for Legal Practice. LPC accredited, this 4-month practice-ready course, which is taught by practicing lawyers, can reduce your PVT contract by 12 months for admission. Study by day, after hours, or via distance at campuses nationwide. The first 2026 intake runs from January to April. Applications close 31 October 2025. Apply now at lssalead.org.za. That's lssalead.org.za.
Getting ready for university? Let South African Airways take the pressure out of your travel. Enjoy all-inclusive one-way fares, Joburg to Durban from 690, Joburg to Gqeberha 655, Joburg to Cape Town from 1,144 Rand. And you can pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of February. Travel by 12 February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
Hi, this is Carol Shabalala, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. It's more fun when it's for fun. Playing responsibly is always a winning strategy. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
Coming up in the next hour, What's the Question? Brought to you by Outsurance. 3,000 Rand is up for grabs. Send us an answer and you get 1,000 Rand. WhatsApp us your name and that answer to 072 702 1702. Later, someone will ask a question. SMS out to 45142 now and you could save on your car insurance.
702.
The Political Desk.
Right, the week that was politically. Let's start with goings on in the Democratic Alliance. They've long held themselves as the party of discipline with no factionalism. All of that, of course, has been challenged with the resignation yesterday of the former Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, Deon George, resigning as a member of the party, saying it's been captured by the ANC, but also pointing a finger at the leader, John Steenhuisen, whose credit card access he removed all the way back in March because he says it wasn't being used appropriately. Sandy Leswana is our political analyst joining us this morning. As always, a pleasure to have you on the show. What do you make of what's going on in the DA?
Well, thank you so much, Bongani, and your listeners. I think your background information is correct in saying that perhaps a lot of us have been far too generous in dealing with the factionalism in the DA. You know, how the likes of Mpopala the left, the likes of Herman Mashaba, Lindiwe, and others. I think Deon George, being a significant intellectual progressive in some regards relative to the sustainable management of our environment and natural resources, he has articulated his position quite clearly and favorably. Also, he has addressed the question of misuse of resources in the DA, which has also then created factionalism inside the DA. Which has already been swept under the carpet, and with that, a tsunami has swept Deon George out of the DA.
The big question, I suppose, because of course the DA is going to have an elective Congress. John Steenhuisen, the current leader, the incumbent, is running for leadership once again. And I suppose the question the party really has to grapple with is whether or not John Steenhuisen will offer them a chance to consolidate at the very least what they have, or indeed if the party needs a strategic reset following a number of election cycles where they haven't really had significant growth.
Yes, I think that it's a very tough one, Bongani, because when you're competing against the weak, you might think you are strong, when in actual fact, the little success that you have or your ability to hold ground is just a sign that you are competing against the weak. If the DA is competing against the ANC, obviously this is an election year, so I am delving very deep into the historical statistics of local government electoral statistics to try and see what exactly is going on, especially in competition between the DA and the ANC. So this is a competition of the weak. So any success or apparent success or mediocrity, etc., that is manifested by the DA and Steenhuisen is unfortunately fueled and strengthened by the weakness of the ANC itself. So indeed, it is correct for the DA, if it was sober, to say, can we then increase and improve on the quality of the leadership and our strategic insight as the DA, as opposed to hope that we will succeed because the ANC is failing.
Deon George says this issue of Steenhuisen's personal financial challenges or exposure, if you will, has left his position weakened, particularly in the context of the GNU. Would you say that the DA has a leader who's compromised? And to be clear, of course, they have cleared him of any wrongdoing.
This clearing of people by their own party is a highly questionable practice. The PA, you remember, were very quick to clear Kenny Kunene, and the ANC has cleared many of its cadres.
And leaders.
So, and leaders. So at the top, when you listen to some of the latest reports of the Integrity Commission, it's a disaster. So the DA is now in that mode, so that at the top, which is the ANC and the DA, those are the two biggest parties. And in business, by the way, the anointed candidates, those who are anointed, such as Steenhuisen, the system of governance absorbs their errors. It has got an internal washing and cleansing system. If you are anointed, your errors are absorbed by the system. Now, the comrades are heavily implicated, and it was a tough word that Deon George used when he said that there's a partnership here with criminals, because most of us know from reading public documents and listening to the Majanga Commission and the portfolio, the ad hoc committee in Parliament, that as you listen to this information, and we've listened to it over many years, including the Zondo Commission and so on, you realize that the comrades at the top level, these are culprits, these are suspects and convicts, if you include the travel gate scandal and so on. And Steenhuisen is now entering those realms. And they are going to have to continue sprinkling holy water over him. But the comrades, they are going to know that they are in good company, in the company of Steenhuisen.
Goodness me, that's a very way to put it. That's a very strong way to put it. Appreciate your time as always, Sandile Swana, political analyst, joining us there. And perhaps let's let Deon George have the last word on this. Yesterday, as part of that resignation statement, he essentially argued that the leader of the DA is compromised.
Steenhuisen's personal financial vulnerabilities leaves the DA with a leader who cannot challenge the ANC in the GNU, who is willing to throw countless loyal, hard-working DA leaders like me to the wolves when they stand up for DA members and South Africa's interests, and who cannot exit the GNU under any circumstances, given that he's completely financially compromised. South Africa has entirely lost its way in its economic policy and foreign policy under the GNU. The government has not been able to negotiate the same low 10% tariff rate of other African countries with the United States. It will come at a huge price in jobs, economic growth, and safety for ordinary South Africans.
Of course, the federal chair, Helen Zille, said it was unfortunate that George had resigned from the party before answering a pending disciplinary investigation into whether or not he had put the party into disrepute.
702. Coming up, the big interview.
Big interview, of course, today crunches the numbers and the statistics. We've got the statistician general joining us this morning to wade through some of those figures and facts that inform policymaking in South Africa. That's a big one for us. Coming up after this Eyewitness News, brought to you by Khaliks. Khaliks, for the businessman who knows what he wants.
This is EWN.
Ramaphosa warns Limpopo officials against misusing flood relief funds, and has Donald Trump's dream of having a Nobel Peace Prize come true? Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. President Cyril Ramaphosa says there's no room for financial mismanagement as Limpopo attempts to rebuild after this week's devastating floods. Parts of the province are still battling heavy rain, with roads, bridges and critical infrastructure damaged. Schools and clinics in several areas remain closed, while the South African Weather Service has issued its highest alert for more disruptive downpours. Mongezi Koko has more from Limpopo.
For communities hit by the floods, their immediate concern is survival and how to begin putting their lives back together. But as government prepares to release relief and recovery funding, the president has made it clear that accountability will be non-negotiable. Ramaphosa visited hard-hit areas yesterday alongside provincial leaders, saying any money allocated for repairs and reconstruction will be closely monitored.
And the damage caused to roads and to bridges. So all that is being collated. And once it is collated, it will be properly analyzed and will be made transparent and will be announced to everyone.
The Limpopo provincial government says damage assessments are continuing. On the ground, though, many residents say help feels distant as they fear another night without homes, without power, and without certainty. Monkey Ziko Ko. Eyewitness News, Limpopo.
Staying in Limpopo, the Mudamule Regional Court is expected to hand down a ruling today on the trial within a trial in the Palapala matter about a witness that gave contradictory evidence. The state witness accused the police of making him sign a statement he didn't understand. Emanuela David and siblings Froliana and Dinilacho Joseph are accused of breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's game farm in 2020 and making off with $580,000 in cash. Tabiso Goba reports.
The witness, who cannot be named, initially gave a statement to police saying he transported accused number 1, Emanuela David, and 2 other people from Bilabila to Kempton Park a day after the burglary. In a statement, the witness said he was paid $30,000 in cash. However, when he took the witness stand last year, he completely contradicted his statement, accusing the police of intimidation and saying he is illiterate and did not understand what he was signing. The witness says while he did transport accused number 1 and 2 other people, he was paid 7,000 rand and not the $30,000 quoted in the police statement. Under cross-examination by the prosecutor, the witness admitted he had been coming to court using a car belonging to the mother of the accused siblings Froliana and Ndilinasho Joseph. The court will make a ruling today on whether the statement he gave to police can be admitted as evidence in the main trial. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
The Education Department in Gauteng has dismissed claims that it is prioritizing foreign nationals over South African pupils for placement at schools. Anti-migrant group Operation Dudula has accused the department of failing to place South Africans in preferred schools because the department has been prioritizing children of foreign nationals. Emisima Tumechilwane says the allegations are not true because there is no policy that allows schools to make such decisions. The department faces pressure over unplaced pupils in grades 1 and 8 since schools reopened this year. Jabuli Lembata reports.
Gauteng Education MEC Matume Chilwane says that any school or department officials found contravening admission rules will face harsh consequences. He says learners are placed in accordance with the law and the department's admissions policies. At present, more than 2,000 grade 1 and 8 learners remain unplaced, which the department has attributed to lack of space. Department spokesperson Steve Mabona says there is no need to panic.
Our system remains intact, and we just want to assure parents that the applications are being processed in an orderly and transparent manner. You will recall that we have opened the system for late applications, and we have recorded over 27,000 late applications.
He adds that qualifying learners will be accommodated even if it's not at schools of their first choice. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News.
And Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado says she has presented her Nobel Peace Prize medal to U.S. President Donald Trump. The Norwegian Nobel Committee earlier wrote in a statement on X that the prestigious prize cannot be revoked, shared or transferred to others, and that the name of the winner stands for all time even if the medal physically changes hands. Trump dismissed Machado as unfit to lead Venezuela after he snatched the country's leader Maduro earlier this month. Machado claims Trump cares about the people of Venezuela and he deserves to be honored.
The people of Bolivar are giving back to the heir of Washington a medal, in this case a medal of the Nobel Peace Prize, as a recognition for his unique commitment with our freedom.
Gold is trading at $4,616.66 an ounce. The rand is at 16.33 to the dollar, 21.87 to the pound, 18.98 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $66.52 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays in fourways along several routes within the area. Vetkoppen Road is heavily backed up heading towards fourways, as well as Winnie Mandela Drive towards Bryanston. So please do expect about a 20-minute hold-up altogether. If you're heading towards Sandton, expect about a 15-minute hold-up towards the area as a result.
And in your sport, Paul Royals through to the SA20 playoffs thanks to Otniel Bartman's 5 for 16. That included a hat-trick. Orlando Pirates and Sundowns escaped tough draws for the Nedbank Cup round of 32, but Chiefs got stellies. And a busy weekend of football ahead with the AFCON final on Sunday night. The Manchester Derby is tomorrow afternoon.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg is at a low of 16 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 17 and 28. Vereeniging 17 as well and a high of 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. President Cyril Ramaphosa says there's no room for financial mismanagement as Limpopo attempts to rebuild after this week's devastating floods.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
It's time to get back to business by visiting Geopolitics, because a new year means a fresh new start and even more opportunities to look smart with Geopolitics collections of business suits in a range of colors, styles and quality fabrics, not to mention the very best value for money and service and, of course, quality. So whatever your New Year's resolution, do it in style with business formal, relaxed and casual collections, all from Geopolitics, for the businessman who knows what he wants.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 7 o'clock, you're listening to 702 Breakfast on this 16th of January 2026. Inside the DA's faction wars, with a picture of leader John Steenhuisen. That's the front page story in the Mail and Guardian. And essentially they're saying, they're quoting one of their sources and saying the debate within the DA is really going to center on whether or not the current leader John Steenhuisen can consolidate the DA's position in terms of where it sits in the electoral map. Or do they look for a new leader who can give the party a strategic reset and take them forward and give them gains after several election cycles in which the party's numbers haven't moved all that significantly? We've been keeping an eye, of course, all week in terms of the developments between the United States and the president's threats to take over Greenland. I want you to listen now to Iceland's former president, Olafur Grimsson, saying that as Donald Trump intensified any conversation about taking over Greenland, it would have monumental consequences for NATO, the Western Alliance, if indeed that threat is carried through.
Of course, he could take Greenland by force if he wants to do that, because, first of all, the Kingdom of Denmark could not provide the defense. I can't really see any neighboring countries, whether it's Canada or the Nordic countries, providing the necessary defense. I doubt whether the French and the Germans would send the military forces to battle him up in Greenland. But then afterwards, so what? Because it would have monumental consequences for the Western Alliance, for the international system, for how other countries countries react to the United States. So the fallout would be on the scale that we have never seen in living memory. But in terms of a military exercise, like he did in Venezuela, yes, of course, it's possible he could do that.
Isn't that absolutely incredible? Let's bring matters home now. You remember, of course, that ad hoc committee in Parliament looking at allegations of criminality within our law enforcement. Yesterday, it was the turn of the crime intelligence head, Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo, who essentially says all SAPS members in Gauteng are working with cartels. It's the most extraordinary admission. It's all to do with that political killings task team. And he says the reason they had to bring in cops from KZN was because they couldn't trust who was working with the cartels. And he says the only way these cartels can succeed is if they've infiltrated law enforcement. They've got to know who has what information on them. They've got to have people within law enforcement protecting them. That's the only way their operations can succeed. And he says they got to the point where they couldn't trust their own officers to look at these cartels. But that's why they were bringing the political killings task team members from KZN. The other interesting thing, of course, was around police officials who take extended sick leave. I want you to listen to this exchange between Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo speaking to the DA's Ian Cameron as part of that ad hoc committee conversation yesterday. And he was talking about the officials who've been on extended sick leave. And tell me if you wouldn't want this.
Yes, as part of this investigation that we're busy with, yes, we have identified a lot of senior officers.
What structures or mechanisms mostly provide this? So to give you clarity, and you'll see where I'm going with this, I'm going to touch on policy regarding the disciplinary process and so on, but what mechanisms do they hide behind? If not mechanisms, which people do they hide behind?
In most cases at senior level, they hide behind some of the senior officials that do not apply the legal framework correctly so, or are scared of applying the legal framework. It is a norm that in most cases it's a matter of faking sickness and booking of sick for the next 2 years. And then whoever then has to deal with that situation lacks then the legal understanding as to how to go about dealing with such.
So basically to muddy cases. That's what he's saying, right? To muddy cases, a guy who has investigated a matter might then pretend he's sick. And they can take sick leave for up to 2 years. 2 years. So they're being paid to stay at home, and they're also frustrating the work of their colleagues to get to the bottom of matters they've investigated. Ian Cameron then presses him and says, do you have an example of somebody who did just that, was on sick leave for 2 years?
Gerald, can you give an example of any members that have recently done that have booked off or just stayed away from work?
In my environment, yes, I had General Motley that booked off sick, I think, for about 2 years.
Would you, what usually prevents, I'm trying to see which one to go for first, but is it usually, do they try and steer away from disciplinary processes or from criminal processes from being finalized? So what I'm trying to get at is is it because of policy gaps or is it because of reluctance? Do we have the mechanisms to actually tackle some of these issues or these persons, or do we need to change policy?
According to my assessment currently, we have correct policies that can help us, but it does not mean that there is no room for improvement in terms of those policies. But the ones that we are having, they are sufficient for now to deal with such situations.
I asked earlier, have you encountered betrayal, personally, maybe in an intimate setting, in a romantic relationship, maybe from a member of your family, colleagues, professionally. The idea that those who are meant to serve and protect are working with the criminals from whom they must protect us, that feels like a betrayal. Surely.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Good morning, good Bongani and the 702 listeners. So the biggest betrayal that I ever experienced was from a friend. She knew everything that was happening between me and the father of my child. And the moment we had a fallout, it was during those times when Facebook was the place to be. She went on Facebook and she blasted all my dirty laundry on Facebook for everyone to see. I was actually talking to somebody about it a few days ago that we went to high school with, and he still remembers. So yeah, that was the biggest. And till today, I'm very, very skeptical when it comes to friends. I've got serious trust issues when it comes to especially female friends. So yeah.
Gosh.
702. Up next.
The big interview.
EWN Traffic.
All right, the CWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university. So why hit the road when you can fly? Book at flysaa.com now. Amo?
Well, Bongani, traveling in the east of Joburg, we've got a car stuck on the road. It's on the N12 east after Croft Road. Please be on the lookout there. The left lane is closed and approach with care. While traveling on the same route, another car stuck on the road near Padfontein Road in the center lane. So please be on the lookout there and approach a bit slow. And then if you're traveling on the N17 west, we've got roadworks that are taking place. This is in the Boksburg area along the N17 near Roundabout Road. Both directions of this route are affected by these roadworks. Expect about a 15-minute hold up there. I'll have more details coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Matric class of 2025, ready to spread your wings? South African Airways makes your uni journey easier with all-inclusive one-way fares. Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, Joburg to Gqeberha 655. Johannesburg to Cape Town from 1,144 Rand. Plus, you can pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until 12th February. Travel by 12th February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings.
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
The differences you see today, because you came into the industry when the country was trying to still find its direction, so to speak. When you look at Gemelli, it shaped a generation of young South Africans. What do you think a show like that meant and gave young people what was missing at the time?
The sense of hope that the talents they have will have a platform, that this will work, this will pay me. I'm not crazy in Limpopo wanting to be an actor. I'm not crazy at wanting to be a television presenter.
Nimrod Nkosi.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Water infrastructure vandalism has tragic and dangerous consequences. The theft of manhole covers can result in fatalities, especially among children. Each damaged pipe, illegal hookup, or vandalized pump jeopardizes access to clean water, disrupts services, and threatens public safety. Report suspicious activity to the City of Johannesburg at 0800 002 587. Help combat water infrastructure vandalism. Your alertness can prevent disasters. And it's brought to you by Joburg Water, a water utility that cares.
Hi, this is Alia Itzebet, Hollywood Bets brand ambassador. A reminder that you can still shoot for the stars while playing responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counselling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
In Africa, we say the chameleon looks in all directions before moving.
At Plus 94 Research, we understand the importance of careful consideration. By analyzing comprehensive data and diverse perspectives, we help you make informed decisions that stand the test of time. Don't leap without looking. Move forward with insight and precision. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision making.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
20 minutes after 7 o'clock. I am a little disappointed because we're not quite sure what is going on, but we had confirmed an interview with the statistician general Risenga Maluleke to discuss the state not only of South Africa's unemployment data, which is the topical issue at the moment, but also challenges that Stats SA is facing. You may remember a comment I made towards the end of last year when I said that look no further than the capacity challenges Stats SA is facing to really have a sense of the lack of seriousness about governance when it comes to some aspects of this administration. There were questions raised, for example, about Census 2022 and whether or not Stats SA still stands by those numbers, because of course without accurate information, policy making in South Africa becomes a minefield and difficult. His phone is off, his staff are trying to get hold of him. Perhaps his battery died. You know, so many things can happen. So it looks like that won't be a conversation happening today, but we will try and get him on the line or with us in the coming days. So in the meantime, let's tell you about other news you may want to be, or at least you may want to know. Listen to this extraordinary story. A 21-year-old man in Hamburg is on trial. He's accused of coercing minors online into harmful behavior, including the death of a 13-year-old American boy during a live stream. The suspect is known online as the White Tiger. He's alleged to have targeted over 30 children across the US, Canada, Finland, and Germany in the years 2021 to 2023. He's facing 204 charges, including murder and attempted murder. He convinced one young man young boy, really, a 15-year-old in the US to a 13-year-old, I beg your pardon, American boy, to commit suicide during a live stream. And for that, he has been charged with murder. And it was on this day in 1979, the BBC aired the first episode of Life on Earth, presented by now Sir David Attenborough. And for the first time, evolution, biodiversity, and extinction were explained not as an abstract science, but as a shared story.
7:02.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
All right, I'm pleased to tell you we finally did get our statistician general on the line. Risenga Maluleke joins us now. A little bit of a miscommunication mishap at the start, but we're glad to have you on the program. Welcome to 702 Breakfast. I'm surprised we haven't actually spoken much before. Thank you for your time this morning.
Let me greet you, Bongani, and let me greet the 702 listeners.
Our entry point into the conversation has been the topical issue at the moment, particularly when it comes to South Africa's high unemployment numbers. And there's been some debate about what the real figure might be in terms of the formal and informal economy. I just thought perhaps that's where we can start our conversation. Where do you put the official numbers, and particularly when it comes to South Africa's youth? What is the official figure?
Let us start by saying, Annie, that young people have generally been vulnerable to unemployment. And indeed, when you look at the issue of young people who are women, it's even a little more, because women are generally vulnerable to unemployment or to labor markets. Having said so, we have what we call the official unemployment rate. And indeed, when you talk about official unemployment rate, you also have what we used to call the expanded unemployment rate the expanded unemployment rate would have included what you call your discouraged work seekers, as well as people that looked for work. I mean, they didn't look for work, but would have been available. But having gone further beyond that, we now have more attributes or more variables that we make available. Now, the official unemployment rate has generally been sitting at about 32%. And I'm talking about when you look at over time. So let us start by saying that we had gone to about 32% and gone down a bit in the last quarter that we measured to about 31.9%. And having said so, that is the official line. When you look at what you call the informal sector, in terms of what it employs, in the previous time, we had said that it is sitting at about 3.3 million, because when you look at it in the original form that we were looking, we were not talking about those people that are sitting in agriculture, because agriculture was as a sector. Now, when you remove agriculture and you talk about formal, informal, as well as private households, and you remove agriculture as a sector and you leave it as an industry, then our informal sector sits at about 4.5 million people.
All right, tell you what, we are going to have to reschedule our conversation. We just don't have enough time to delve through all the issues we wanted to discuss with you. That little communications mishap at the beginning not assisting us. So we'll leave it there for today. We will have to reschedule another conversation where we can have a little bit more time to flesh out some of the things and issues we want to put to you. But we do appreciate you coming on eventually. Statistician General of South Africa, Risenga Maluleke.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. It's nearly time to head back to university, so why hit the road when you can fly? Book at flysaa.com now. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we still have got heavy traffic volumes on several roads within the fourways, Lone Hill as well as Paulshof area. Vetkoppen Road heavily backed up towards Paulshof as well as Winnie Mandela Drive towards Bryanston. And then if you're traveling on the N1 North, queuing traffic as well between Malibongo Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. Peak time delays there. I'll have more updates coming up. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Getting ready for university? Let South African Airways take the pressure out of your travel. Enjoy all-inclusive one-way fares. Joburg to Durban, 690 Rand. Joburg to Gqeberha from 655. And Joburg to Cape Town from 1,144. Plus, you can pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of February. So travel by 12th February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
EWN Business.
Right, we're looking at the share price of Mr. Price. Uteo Haripe, that now dropping. Uncertainty over its European acquisitions.
Yeah, shares at Mr. Price have hit a 52-week low as uncertainty surrounding its 9.7 billion rand acquisition of NKD continues. Now, in December, the local retailer announced that it's buying 100% of the European value retailer. NKD is a 60-year-old cash-based EU retailer with 2,108 stores across Germany, Austria, Croatia, Slovenia, Czech Republic, and Poland. Now, the day Mr. Price announced that particular deal, the company's shares plummeted by 12%. Investors are concerned about the deal's value and risks profile, with some questioning whether the purchase price is just too steep. Now, the retailer plans to host a capital markets day in the first quarter of 2026 to provide more details to investors.
Wait, is that a Mont Blanc pen? Is that a Cartier watch, Matteo? The luxury firm Richemont reporting improved earnings.
I don't earn that much, Bongani. The luxury goods group has reported a strong third quarter with sales soaring to 122 billion rand, an 11% increase. The company is known for iconic brands like Cartier, Van Cleef & Arpels and Montblanc. Jewelry sales jumped 14% at constant prices, driven by brands like Cartier and Van Cleef & Arpels.
All right, your indicators.
The rand is 16 rand 33 against the US dollar, still in a good position. 18 rand 97 now against the euro, and you'll need 21 rand 87 cents to get a British pound. Price of gold $4,599 an ounce, or platinum is down 2.5% at $2,340. Brent crude at $63.64 a barrel. More business after 8.
Time now for your latest Eyewitness News. Esfiso Zulu in the blue corner is Helen Zeller. And in the green corner, re-enters Herman Mashaba.
That's right, Bongani. The former Johannesburg mayor believes he has unfinished business to do in the city after quitting as its number one citizen in 2019. With local government elections looming, Mashaba signalled a warning to corrupt officials, saying he will ensure that they are sent packing should he decide to stand as Action SA's mayoral candidate for the city. He says he will also pick up on his previous campaigns to clear the city of undocumented foreign nationals. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
Action SA leader Herman Mashaba says his party has little interest in joining the government of national unity and would rather focus its attention on gaining control over the municipalities of Johannesburg, Tshwane and Ekurhuleni.
They can keep that GNU. Action SA will run the economy of this country and create a conducive economic environment for people to get jobs.
Mashaba faced harsh criticism from human rights groups during his tenure as Johannesburg mayor between 2016 and 2019, when he went on a drive to flush out undocumented foreign nationals from inner city buildings, accusing them of criminality. But he's unapologetic about this stance and says he will do it again to ensure businesses in poor communities are only run by South Africans.
We will have zero tolerance for undocumented foreigners.
Mashaba says his party will make an announcement on its mayoral candidates before the end of next month, and whether or not he will be among them. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
The Transport Department wants to tighten the country's drunk driving laws as it attributes road fatalities to reckless driving behavior. The department yesterday released the 2025-26 festive season road stats showing more than 8,600 people were arrested for driving under the influence. Minister Barbara Creasy says they will introduce a policy that prevents any form of drinking and driving.
And that is why we are introducing a new measure, and that measure is to prevent any form of drinking and driving, because all scientific evidence indicates that alcohol intake diminishes concentration.
More than 2,000 Cape Town residents displaced from their homes after a fire are demanding answers from government about emergency rebuilding material, which they say is long overdue. The blaze tore through Site 5 informal settlements in Dunoon last week, destroying more than 600 structures. Affected residents say they are desperate to rebuild and they cannot afford to wait any longer, especially with cold and wet conditions worsening their situation. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
Community leaders say while food parcels and temporary assistance are being provided, there's been little clarity on when building materials such as wood, zinc and tools will be delivered. The National Human Settlements Department, however, says the procurement of emergency material is at an advanced stage and will be rolled out as soon as the process is completed. Community leader Zugiswa Kobe says residents want immediate action and are complaining that the delays are prolonging their suffering.
Also, there are some people who are next to my city. That city of Cape Town told them that they mustn't build their shack yet. They must wait for 30 days. So they don't know where they are going to stay for 30 days.
Relief efforts are underway, but the scale of the disaster has overwhelmed the community. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And Cuba has paid tribute to 32 soldiers killed in the U.S. military strike that ousted Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. The troops were honored in a ceremony attended by leader Raul Castro. Havana, under pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump, had authorized 2 days of tribute for the men, some of whom had been assigned to Maduro's protection team. 21 of the soldiers were from the Cuban Interior Ministry, which oversees intelligence services, and the others were from the military. A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 16 and 17 degrees, peaking at highs between 26 and 28.
And in the traffic, we've got delays in Midrand along the N1 South approaching New Road. Please be on the lookout there. About a 20-minute hold-up. If you're leaving the city of Tshwane right now and you're heading towards areas like Sandton, you'll definitely be held up. Your trip, please add about 10 more minutes to your trip. And then if you're traveling on the in four-ways, we've got delays on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen Road and the N1.
The top story, the SAWA. Former Joburg Mayor Herman Mashaba believes he has unfinished business to do in the city.
Need a seat? Try 7 or 5, it's your call. Want a sunroof? Make it a panoramic. Gotta have power? How does award-winning 138 kilowatt sound? The Changan CS75 Pro is big enough for the kids, smart enough for your playlist, and stylish enough for your Friday night too. Why settle when you can have it all without compromise? The Changan CS75 Pro. Drive tomorrow's SUV today. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more.
Changan, driven to evolve.
Matric class of 2025, ready to spread your wings? South African Airways makes your uni journey easier with all-inclusive one-way fares from Johannesburg to Durban from 690 Rand, Joburg to Gqeberha 655, Joburg to Cape Town 1,144. Plus, pack more of what you need with 2 checked bags instead of 1. On sale until the 12th of February. Travel by 12th February 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. T's and C's apply.
Mzansi, Powerball has reached a mega 165 million rand estimated jackpot this Friday. That's one of the highest jackpots to hit the country. Play Powerball for an estimated 165 million rand jackpot today for your chance at greatness. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani and team. Bongani, you know what? We have been saying this about the police law years and years and years. People, they didn't believe us. We have been saying this years and years. Don't ever trust Gauteng subs. Don't ever trust Gauteng subs. If you do things and then you think that you get a protection police, forget the subs in Gauteng. Those guys, they are they are criminals. They are using government resources to be criminals. Don't ever trust the Gauteng subs.
Can you tar the entire force with the same brush, though? Because I think the implication, from what I understood, from what General Khumalo was saying to the ad hoc committee yesterday when he made that assertion, was it likely refers to people very senior and very higher up. Those are the ones who would have enough influence. I think there are many rank-and-file police officers who do their work with commitment and dedication. I'm not sure if we should tar the entire force with that brush in Gauteng. If you missed it yesterday, Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo giving testimony before the ad hoc committee looking into allegations of criminality within law enforcement, and he says many in Gauteng are working with the criminal cartels.
Hey, Bongani, good morning. No, it's not a surprise when Bongani that there's the Gauteng police are infiltrated. They're not the only ones. So are the Western Cape ones, Bongani. They are highly infiltrated by drug cartels, so to speak. A classic case of that infiltration would be the case that happened here in the city of Johannesburg, where the TRT members were caught escorting drugs by the SAPS. You remember there was a big fight. They could have arrested those guys. I don't know whether they're still in jail or not. So there was a huge fight between the JMPT and SAPS on this matter. So it's not new. If we're going to clean crime intelligence, wow.
I still feel like it's a betrayal. However prevalent it is, wherever it is, whether it's in the Western Cape, I mean, you can't have those gangs so rife in the Western Cape without somebody in law enforcement looking the other way. So I take that point. But it feels like a betrayal. It really does. There's just no other way to put it. It feels to me like a betrayal. Your thoughts? Send us a WhatsApp voice note on 072 702 1702.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. Your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. So first 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Today's answer comes from Solomon in Pretoria. Solomon, a very good morning to you. Happy Friday.
Morning, bro Bonks.
Give us today's answer, please. Put us out of our misery.
Today's answer is Sade.
Sade. There we go. Sade. And tell me, Solomon, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
I'm not the club already, Bonks.
Ah, you're a smooth operator, aren't you, Solomon? 1,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to Outsurance and 702. There you have it. Solomon in Pretoria saying the answer is Sade. What's the question? Call us now on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
Talking of smooth operators, Cindy Paluta, 5 for 16.
Yeah, Neil Bartman was absolutely phenomenal last
Wow.
night. It was quite something to watch.
Oh.
And they were playing in Centurion.
I got to tell you, I'm going to the Wanderers tomorrow.
Oh, that's
I'm
nice.
going to
You
watch
got
the
tickets.
game. Yeah, I'm going to watch the game. So I'm
That's
excited.
very cool. I tried to get tickets. They were sold out. SA20 cricket. Paul, in case you're wondering if us working in sports broadcasting ever get tickets, no, guys. I've said this before. 99.9% of the time, I buy my own tickets, and I don't mind because
Yeah.
I love to go
Yeah.
watch and I love
Yeah.
to put money back into the game.
Yeah.
Right. SA20 cricket. Paul Royals through to the playoffs after an easy 6-wicket win over Pretoria Capitals. Neil Bartman took 5 for 16, only the second bowler in history to take a hat-trick in the tournament as Capitals collapsed to 127 all out. Paul cruised to the win through Herman's 46 and Lawrence's 41. Here's Bartman.
But certainly this is my best. Like I say, that's well done to my heart. That's fine, but it means so much to me. It means a lot to the team as well. Obviously, good performance for the team, putting them in a winning position. But yeah, certainly enjoyed it.
Tonight, my Cape Town hosts Sunrisers Eastern Cape. Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns escaped a tough draw in the Nedbank Cup. A round of 32 Pirates will play TTM Sundowns up against Gomorrah. Kaizer Chiefs got a tough one, a repeat of last year's quarter-final. They will travel to Stellenbosch. In other all-premiership ties, Durban City are hosting Chippa Polokwane against Amazulu. Orbit plays Arrows. TS Galaxy plays Galan, Sibulele and Richards Bay. Busy weekend of football ahead. Sunday is the AFCON final. The hosts Morocco against Senegal. That's on Sunday night at 9 p.m. Tomorrow in the Premier League, the Manchester Derby United with new caretaker coach Michael Carrick hosting City at 2:30. City are 6 points behind the leaders Arsenal. Arsenal are playing Nottingham Forest in the evening. Tennis's first Grand Slam of the year, the Australian Open, starts Sunday. The women's world number one Aryna Sabalenka has made every quarterfinal of every Grand Slam since 2022. Last year she was the runner-up and is hoping this year consistency will pay off.
I'm just taking one step at a time, and I'm always trying to stay in the present and never in the past, even if it's a good or bad. I'm trying to be as present as possible and always thinking on improving myself as a player and as a person. And I think that's why I was able to be really consistent on court.
At the Dakar, stage 11, not a good one for the South Africans, Latachang and Cummins, who lost 1 hour and 40 minutes due to technical issues with the car. They've dropped from 2nd to 23rd in the overall rankings. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Gosh, that was quite a drop, eh? Sure. 2nd to 23rd.
Well, that's why the Dakar is just the toughest race,
Yeah.
right? Because if you break down the Dakar, you, the driver, have to help yourself. There's nobody to come help you. They don't send a technical team or anything unless you drop out completely and they have to come fetch the car. So there you are doing, I mean, you know how long a car service takes, Bongani. You know, drop your car off this morning, you get it back tomorrow afternoon. Then on the desert, an hour 40.
Let's talk about cars and who's stuck in traffic, hoping for a technical team to come and
Hoping it doesn't
rescue.
take longer than an hour 40.
The CWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Now, Amo, a little earlier, you told us about issues in Bedfordview. What's going on now?
Bongani, certainly the people along the N3 South are wishing they could
feel
have
like they're in the
right
Dakar
now.
rally.
Absolutely, because there's an accident reported right near the Gelde's interchange. It's causing heavy delays coming out of the Glulis interchange. About a 20-minute hold up here. So if you are leaving Alexandra towards areas like Germiston, please plan to spend about 40 minutes on this route, the N3 South, coming out of Marlborough Drive, obviously. And then if you're traveling in Boksburg, we've got roadworks that are taking place on the N17 East. They're causing delays between Osborne Road and Rondebolt Road, about a 20-minute hold up there as well. So heading towards Germiston, please use the N12 West instead. And then if you are traveling on the N1 North, we've got some delays between Malibongo Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. Peak time delays there. So please be on the lookout there and continue driving with care. And anything else you see, we are on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You may be paying more for petrol, but without insurance, you could be saving on your car insurance. Like 29-year-old Enoch, who saves a sweet 709 Rand on his 2018 BMW 318i. Get a quote now, and if insurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani and the listeners. I wonder if Ndate Lusenga used the model whereby you include these contractual workers. Most of the youth are not working, and he must indicate the number of youth contractual workers, this 6 months contracts, and then exclude also the learnerships, because now you see in our country we are working on learnerships. Most of the youth are on learnerships. After the learnerships, they don't even get employment. So when they do the census, the families must indicate that those that are working are on learnerships. Thank you so much.
Morning, Bongani and team. I 100% agree. The rot in the police is a complete betrayal for this country. I mean, the people have been saying for years that the police are corrupt, the police are corrupt, and it's like we were brushing everyone with the same brush. But it was said yesterday, confirmed, that everyone is corrupt, from the most senior level to the lowest one. And that's why the criminals are having the time of their life on our land. We are faced with that situation, unfortunately. Thank you.
How startling was it to hear of senior officials who, in trying to muddy the waters for investigations, obviously colluding with criminal elements, can even supposedly take up to 2 weeks or 2 years, 2 years leave. Goodness me, that was just an example of it, was it not? Job opportunities, learnerships, those are some of the phrases around unemployment. We will have the Statistician General of South Africa, Risenga Maluleke, back on the show when we can perhaps have a little bit more time to flesh out some of those issues.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me what's the question. If the answer is Sade, let's go to Siabonga on the line from Port Elizabeth. Siabonga, what's the question?
Name an American singer who was born on this day in 1959. One of her songs is By Your Side.
Ooh, she's not an American singer, Siabonga.
I can say name a singer who was born on this day. Hey, bravo.
She's not an American. She's half English and half Nigerian. So she's definitely not an American. That is absolutely the question. Siabonga, congratulations. 2,000 Rand is coming up your way. And I'm told you've got a quote from Outsurance. So well done. It is, of course, the birthday of the one and only Sade.
love is king. You're the ruler of my heart. Your kiss is ring. Round and round my head, touching the very part of me. It's making my soul sing. I'm crying out for more. Your love is king. I'm coming up.
Oh man, I could go on and on and on. DJ Scooby-Doo. Balisa, thank you for that mix. You left out as good as the first time. Never as good as the first, but I can't complain. Happy birthday, Sade.
Rafiq, a 40-year-old Outsurance client, knows all about saving on car insurance.
Outsurance, they're actually giving something back to you. Being with them, I've saved so much money. 899. That's not small change. It's more than 50% that I saved from my previous insurer.
An incredible 899 Rand monthly saving on Rafiq's 2017 Nissan Navara 4x4. Get a quote now. SMS out to 45142. 35-year-old Zanai saves 1,180 Rand a month on her 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. And the out bonus she'll get?
It is close to 6,500 Rand in 3 years if I'm claim-free.
Ready to get more out? SMS out to 45142. Enjoy benefits like panic assistance, which sends the nearest medical or armed response unit to you wherever you are. Get a quote now and see how much Outsurance could save you. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
702
702.
What's gone viral? With Kabazela.
8 minutes to 8 o'clock. Let's catch up now with the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Belle.
Let's talk about those things you consistently do with your kids.
I had a laugh at this video, I must say. And if you get a chance to go and have a look at this video, you just got to watch this little girl's facial expressions. So it's getting close to bedtime, and the mom's sitting on the bed, and she's relaxing, and the little one comes up to her and says, "You didn't kiss me today." And I mean, if you think about it, I suppose a parent will give a child many kisses in a day, right? But for some reason, this mother didn't kiss her child this particular day, and she heard all about it. Let's take a listen to this exchange.
Don't kiss me today.
What did you say?
And don't kiss me today. Kiss me. Kiss me. Kiss me. Give me. And don't kiss me today. Kiss me. Kiss me. Give me. Kiss me.
Is it my first to kiss you?
Kiss me. And don't kiss me today. Don't kiss me today.
Shall I kiss you?
Aww.
She comes right up into that camera's face.
Banana.
So, I mean, consistency, right? That's the name of the game, I suppose, when it comes to things with children. So maybe if you got a story about things that you do consistently with your children, and then maybe, life happens and you forget one day to do it, and you hear all about it from them. What was that, what is that
When
example?
they were younger. Bedtime story.
Yes.
Bedtime.
And
you
then-
dare not miss the bedtime story.
Oh, yeah. That's
When
a
they were
big one,
younger,
and
yeah.
that's an important one as well.
Yeah, absolutely, when they're younger. All right. What are those things that you are supposed to do consistently with the kids, and when you miss a day because life happens, they are on your case about it? Now, Kabazela, where are my glasses? What's your next story?
Yeah.
Where are my glasses?
Now, those of us who wear glasses, and particularly those who need to wear glasses, kind of permanently, will relate to this story. So this woman, she's gone out with her mate, and they've gone to get a bucket of fried chicken, and it's at one of these markets, so you kind of get things at different times. So the one friend had gone and sat down at a table, and she's sitting down having her food, and she waits for the other friend. And the other friend comes, but she sits down at a table just in front of the friend's table. So the friend watches her. This friend she's sitting at this table with a complete stranger, right? She's having a bite of her chicken, and then the friend says to her, hey, here I am, come over here. Then the girl looks up quite confused. She gives a squint. You know, if you give a squint, it helps the vision sometimes. And then she sees she's at the wrong table with a complete stranger, and then gets up and joins her friend, very embarrassed. So let's hear those stories. You know, if you wear glasses on a daily basis or contact lenses, and sometimes it happens, maybe you break the glasses, maybe the contact lenses are finished and you're waiting for a new, a script to come through or peg to come through, and now you are struggling with your vision. Have you had any mishap or issue happen whilst you haven't had your glasses on or your contact lenses in? We'd love to hear those. I mean, like on a daily basis, right? So if we get into bed, me and the missus, and she wears contact lenses, and then she'll take them out before she gets into bed. And then if she's in bed without the contact lenses and her glasses are next to the bed on the side table,
can't find them,
and I want to show her something, she sees nothing. It's complete like blindness.
No, wait till you put your glasses on your head. You know how sometimes you'll put the lens on top of your head?
Yes.
And then you're busy looking for them. And someone says,
like, where are they?
On your head. All right, you wear glasses. You need to wear glasses. Mishaps without them. Let us know.
702. Feedback with Baphelile Sambo.
Baphelile Sambo, of course, has 20/20 vision. You don't need to wear
I don't
glasses,
struggle with my
right?
eyes. No.
You
But
can
I
see
love
clearly.
fashionable. I see clearly, even in the dark.
The rain has gone.
Everything. Like I'm good. I'm good with eyes.
All right, what feedback do you have?
Bongani, remember yesterday we got a voice note from a 702 lender asking us a fun question. Why do we say cart in South Africa instead of trolleys when we do our online shopping?
Yes.
So being the...
Why do you add to cart instead of adding to a trolley?
So, yes. So being the producer that I am...
Oh, Utla.
I reached out to Andy Reach, the general manager for digital commerce at the ShopRite Group.
Get out of here.
I know, right? And he was very kind enough to help us with the answer. This is what he said.
That's a very interesting question, as the distinction between basket, cart, and trolley does indeed elicit different connotations. Locally, I believe the term basket has become more prevalent in the e-commerce world due to South Africa's linguistic ties to British English, as opposed to cart, which is the dominant term in the US. The term trolley is also used, but far more so for the physical item used to shop in stores. We considered several factors when we developed the Checkers 6060 app. Our primary goal is to offer fast, convenient, on-demand delivery. And we believe that the term basket more accurately reflects this immediate and accessible service. In contrast, trolley tends to elicit thoughts of a bigger, more extensive in-store shop. Basket evokes a more casual retail experience, aligning with the intuitive, browse and select nature of 6060. Hope that helps, and I look forward to hearing whether your listeners prefer the term basket, cart, or trolley.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because, I mean, the idea is that you don't do all your your monthly shopping, you know what I mean? But that if you're running out of things and you need them quickly, you'll quickly go to 6060 or Uber Eats or whatever app may be available to you, and you quickly shop things in or from your basket.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday.
It was, of course, Baphelele's birthday over the December holiday. And if you're watching us on YouTube,
Happy birthday to you.
you see, she thought we'd forgotten, and we knew we were going to surprise her because she thought, shame, she's the Lot Lamaki whose birthday is in December when everyone is on holiday, and we forgot all about it. So there's a bit of cake for you, Baphelele, if you're watching us on YouTube. She's tearing up. She can't believe it. You're a very special member of the team. I know you've joined us most recently. You're the most recent member to join us on the team, but you've become a very, very crucial part of how we do the work that we do. I get all the praise and all the attention, but it's really because of what you as the producing team do to make the show great. So this is a little token of our appreciation.
It sounds like your move, Bongani. You would do this. I should have known.
You thought we forgot.
I did.
You thought we forgot.
I did. Well,
happy birthday. Hope it was a great one.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for all the great work that you do.
Thank you so much.
More of your calls, more of your responses to all the issues we've raised on the show coming up. Right now, though, it is 8 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Ramaphosa promises that flood relief funds will not be abused, and the Gauteng government denies giving preference to foreign school children. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. President Cyril Ramaphosa says there's no room for financial mismanagement as Limpopo attempts to rebuild after this week's devastating floods. Parts of the province are still battling heavy rain with roads, bridges and critical infrastructure damaged. Schools and clinics in several areas remain closed, while the South African Weather Service has issued its highest alert for more disruptive downpours. Mongezi Koko has more from Limpopo.
For communities hit by the floods, the immediate concern is survival and how to begin putting their lives back together. But as government prepares to release relief and recovery funding, the president has made it clear that accountability will be non-negotiable. Ramaphosa visited hard-hit areas yesterday alongside provincial leaders, saying any money allocated for repairs and reconstruction will be closely monitored.
And the damage caused to roads and to bridges. So all that is being collated. And once it is collated, it will be properly analyzed and will be made transparent and will be announced to everyone.
The Limpopo provincial government says damage assessments are continuing. On the ground, though, many residents say help feels distant as they fear another night without homes, without power, and without certainty. Monkey Ziko Ko, Eyewitness News, Limpopo.
Former Presidents Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki will this morning make a formal application for the recusal of TRC Commission of Inquiry Chairperson Justice Sisi Khampepe. The application comes after both men expressed their disapproval of Khampepe's involvement in the commission. Khampepe was last year appointed alongside two other commissioners by President Cyril Ramaphosa to head up the commission. The TRC Commission is tasked with investigating the cause of the delays in prosecuting apartheid-era crimes amid allegations of political interference and deliberate delays. Khomotso Modise has more.
In what can be described as a rare sight, former Presidents Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki will form a tag team this morning in their bid to have Justice Sisi Khampepe removed as chair of the TRC Commission of Inquiry. One of the main complaints they have about her involvement is the fact that she was one of the commissioners in the initial Truth and Reconciliation Commission's hearing in the 1990s. They've also pointed out that Khampepe was the Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions, claiming a conflict because the NPA was tasked to prosecute the crimes. But Zuma takes it a step further, claiming Khampepe has a vendetta against him as she delivered the constitutional judgment that sent him to prison in 2021. The recusal application will be heard by the panel this morning. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
The Education Department in Gauteng has dismissed claims that it is prioritizing foreign nationals over South African pupils for placement at schools. Anti-migrant group Operation Dudula has accused the department of failing to place South Africans in preferred schools because the department prioritizes children of foreign nationals. MEC Madume Chilwane says the allegations are not true because there's no policy that allows schools to make such decisions. The department faces pressure over unplaced pupils in grades 1 and 8 since schools opened this week. Jabuli Lembata reports.
Gauteng Education MEC Madume Chilwane says that any school or department officials found contravening admission rules will face harsh consequences. He says learners are placed in accordance with the law and the department's admissions policies. At present, more than 2,000 grade 1 and 8 learners remain unplaced, which the department has attributed to lack of space. Department spokesperson Steve Mabona says there is no need to panic.
Our system remains intact, and we just want to assure parents that the applications are being processed in an orderly and transparent manner. You will recall that we have opened the system for late applications, and we have recorded over 27,000 late applications.
He adds that qualifying learners will be accommodated even if it's not at schools of their first choice. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News.
And the United Nations has warned that food aid in Sudan is set to run out by the end of March unless new funding is secured, raising fears for millions caught up in the world's largest hunger crisis. Nearly 3 years of fighting between the army and paramilitary rapid support forces have left tens of thousands of people dead, 11 million displaced, and repeated attempts at peace blocked. Efforts led by the US and regional mediators, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates have failed to secure a ceasefire as both sides wrestle for territorial gain. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk says the situation continues to be dire.
They don't have enough settlements for those who got internally displaced, some of them many times. There's no proper solution for the women who have suffered sexual violence because the space is not there. There is not enough attention paid to people with disabilities. But
gold is trading at $4,616.66 an ounce. The rand is at 16.33 to the dollar, 21.87 to the pound, 18.98 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $66.52 a barrel.
In Boksburg, we still have got those roadworks taking place on the N17 West. They're causing delays between Roundabout Road and Osborne Road. Please be on the lookout there and expect about a 20-minute hold-up. While traveling in Bedfordview, we still have got that accident on the N3 South. It's right after the Kirulis interchange. It is causing delays.
And in your sport, Paul Royals joined Sunrisers Eastern Cape in the SA20 playoffs thanks to Neil Bartman's 5-wicket haul in last night's win. A busy weekend of football. The AFCON final is Sunday night, the Manchester Derby tomorrow afternoon. And pressure's on for the Bulls. They have to beat Paarl tonight to keep their Champions Cup campaign alive.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28. The top story in EWN this hour. President Cyril Ramaphosa says there's no room for financial mismanagement as Limpopo attempts to rebuild after this week's devastating floods.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 8 o'clock. We appreciate, of course, all the messages that are coming through our live stream via YouTube. For those of you who are able to watch what's going on in the studio. Someone says, as a Scorpio, I'm very loyal and don't deal well with betrayal. I may forgive, but best believe you will never regain my trust. Betrayal to me is like stepping on my toe, and you don't do that to a Scorpio. I think that's Lady Nora _Scorpio on the YouTube SMS line. And isn't it incredible that as the president visits Limpopo, the front page of the Sowetan has some of the images from the Kruger National Park to villages just outside Giyani. This deluge of water, the president stunned by the damage caused by the floods, says the Sowetan. Is it incredible that in the context of loss of life, loss or damage to property, fears, of course, with this incredibly high alert of yet more rains, one of the things the president has to explain is that there'll be no room for financial mismanagement. Because how often have we seen disaster being turned into an opportunity for people to feed at the trough? Doesn't that just make you think?
The fact that that statement has to be made.
He even has to explain,
yeah, in
the midst of disaster, as I say, loss of life, damage to property. And one of the things he has to explain is that it won't be stolen. Gosh, eh?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
We told you, of course, a little earlier on that it was on this day in 1979. Can you believe it? Really the voice of the planet, and particularly when it comes to wildlife, Life on Earth, David Attenborough aired that program for the first time in 1979. And as we look at climate events and events that we can't quite explain in terms of unusual weather patterns and climate patterns, perhaps it's a reminder, it's a timely reminder for us to heed the words of Sir David Attenborough, who made this statement as he approached his 100th birthday. He's not yet 100, I don't think, but he's fast approaching it. And this is what he had to say recently.
Living for nearly 100 years on this planet, I now understand the most important place on Earth is not on land, but at sea. For if we save the sea, we save our world. After a lifetime of filming our planet, I'm sure that nothing is more important. Living for nearly 100 years on this planet, I now understand the most important...
All right, that's Sir David Attenborough there saying he's lived nearly 100 years on the planet, and it's important that we protect our oceans. And this is, of course, all to do with warnings about climate change. Earlier, we spoke to the political analyst Sandile Swana about the ructions within the DA. You'll remember yesterday, of course, the big news in the afternoon was the resignation of Deon George, the former Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment. And one of the claims, which I thought was quite extraordinary, was how he said he feels the DA has been captured by the ANC. And quite tellingly, he said he found out he'd been removed from his position on television. Can you imagine? You finding out you're out on TV.
Today, I have written to the Democratic Alliance to cancel my party membership that I have held since 1995. I also resign as the party's chairperson Federal Finance and as a Member of Parliament of the Republic of South Africa, where I was first sworn in on 17 January 2008. The situation has become intolerable. I'm being pushed out and it is no longer feasible for me to remain in the party. I heard via the media on 7 November 2025 that John Steenhuisen had written to the President to request my removal as Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment while I was representing our country at COP30 in Brazil. My attorneys have requested documents and they are not provided and no proper explanation in writing are received. I was provided with a gag order from the party on the 24th of November 2025 after I defended myself in the media. This did not apply to others, such as Willie Okamp and John Steenhuisen, who both continued to attack me without any response or support from the party. I cannot remain in a party that has, through the actions of its current leader, John Steenhuisen, been captured by the African National Congress and other criminal interests.
Gosh. Very, very strong words there from Deon George. And we've always thought of factionalism and slates and battles of that sort as being the hallmark of ANC politics, not so much the DA. I think that idea has now been dispelled.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani. It is a pity that 97% of the SAPs in South Africa gives the other 3% a bad name. CO, Pretoria.
Bongani, Pretoria is worse. Pretoria is number one when it comes to criminals in the SAPs. It is number one. You report a case now, 10 minutes later you are called by a so-called constable who wants you to pay money so that you can get help. Wow, Pretoria is worse. I hear Johannesburg and Western Cape, but Pretoria is worse. Thank you.
Bongani, I'm an ex-member of the police. I'll tell you that I used to arrest criminals for coming in the Lenasia area with trucks full of cigarettes, and for that, what I had to find out was that the station commissioner was involved then, and the senior public prosecutor then was involved, because then I got warnings from the senior public prosecutor in court, Proticot, that I'll go away in jail for a long time or I'll die if I continue that way. Bongani, we see it all the time. All the vans, they're picking up monies, they're dropping off dacha, they're dropping off cigarettes in all these criminals. It's happening everywhere. And today I lost my job because once I arrested a criminal, cases were opened against me and I was too quick to be suspended. I'll remain anonymous.
Good morning, Bongani. But the fact that he said that many, so we work with the majority, Bongani. So if the majority is corrupt, then the brush suits. So we can pen them with the same brush. So it's many, and it's true. I would like to remain anonymous. Thank you.
Gosh, two calls from, or at least two voice notes from people remaining anonymous. This former officer working in Lenasia saying that there was interference when he would arrest the criminals. His bosses essentially were themselves involved and he's out of the force. Hounded out is his claim. The idea that many officers accept Jojo. I think I called it Juju the last time and I got menacing looks from my colleagues, Mutero and Amo. So I now know it's Jojo. Right? That ironic voice note. He says it's a shame that the 97% tarnish the good name of the 3%. I think that just about sums it up, does it not? If you've just joined us, by the way, we're of course reflecting on the testimony of the Crime Intelligence Head, General Dumisani Khumalo, who claimed in Parliament yesterday, speaking to the ad hoc committee looking at allegations of criminality within our law enforcement, claiming that many members of SAPS in Gauteng are operating on both sides of the law.
Highly trained combat members of SAPS are moonlighting for the cartels. In other words, working outside their working hours. It happened to the team, I think, on 2 occasions when they are moving with the combat teams from Gauteng. They get to a cartel member, and then the member will ask, "Hey, what are you doing here? Because you were with me last weekend working for me."
How damning is that? He says these are highly trained combat members of SAPS. These are people with specialized skills, part of specialized units. And they get to the cartels. And the guy's like, "Hey, Bunna, you were working for me at the weekend. Now you're here to arrest me?"
You did say, though, if you remember, before the commission started, that there won't be any angels and demons. It won't be a clear-cut line between who's good and bad. It will be very murky, and I think we're getting a full picture of that as it continues.
So here's my difficulty. I hear what you're saying, Mateo, and you and I, as ordinary members of the public, can react as we are to this information, as many of these voice notes are suggesting. But you surely cannot tell me that those who are meant to keep an eye on these kinds of things did not know. Because if they don't, that's a worry.
I think a fair good number knew.
If they do or did, what did they do about it?
It's the thing of, it's the system. I found it this way, so be it. It's either I become a whistleblower, and we know what happens in South Africa to whistleblowers, and it's you against the force, basically.
And the force is not with you, hey?
No.
Hi, Bongani Bingwa speaking. The police issue and gangs, I mean, why can't it be that they would be charged, if they are found guilty, be charged with treason? Because it's almost like the government committing crime against its own citizens. I mean, imagine then if a soldier were to be found to be doing the same thing. I think it should be as high as treason, because then you're betraying your own country and the constitution that I guess saw to uphold and to protect. Yeah, that's just my thought. Thanks.
Good morning, Bongani and team. Michael here from Zagan. Bongani, it's quite concerning. I'd agree with you. It's some kind of a betrayal. But if they've had evidence for months or for longer than that, exposing these cartels and their links with the police in Gauteng and all of that, why have they not made arrests and actually prosecuted these guys? Because it's one thing to have a smoking gun, but you're not prosecuting this person. You need to prosecute.
I suspect that's part of the problem. I think it was one of the questions Julius Malema asked yesterday about why some arrests have not been made. A smoking gun? Maybe that's the reason. There isn't a smoking gun. There isn't a gotcha, right? And maybe that's part of the problem. Jabu, you're in Four Ways. You want to weigh in on this conversation? Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. I think General Khumalo is grossly exaggerating. Remember that he has been charged for corrupt activities and is fighting his own battles inside. There are lots of very good, honest policemen and women in uniform. So for me, the way I'm looking at it, there is internal civil war within SAPS. It's been going on. General Khumalo is part of one faction that has been charged. He's attending court for corruption. But to paint most of the honest policemen in Gauteng as corrupt, I think is totally disingenuous for someone that is attending court cases. I mean, yes, there are corrupt cops, we know that, but the way that he's putting it is grossly exaggerating. Thank you.
He may argue there are plots against him. Appreciate that call, Jabu. Makashulegana is a member of parliament for Rise Mzansi, and you're calling in response to the comments made by General Khumalo. Good morning.
Good morning, Bongani, and good morning to the 702 listeners. So when I heard that statement from General Khumalo, I was like, no, this is a gross exaggeration. It can't be that every single SAPS member in Gauteng is being seen as corrupt, as captured. If that was the case, and sometimes I'm like, if that was the case, we wouldn't have the prisons in Gauteng that are overflowing as a result of the good work of the men and women in blue, both in arrest, in investigation, in ensuring that the cases are successfully prosecuted. And now for him to then paint everyone, almost everyone in Gauteng as being corrupt, as being captured, I think it's an extreme gross exaggeration. And I think it is important for General Masimula and also General Mtombeni as a provincial commissioner to come out and be able to say firmly that this kind of painting all the SAPS members in Gauteng, the hardworking men and women in blue, it's not right. We will accept that there will be some that are involved in criminal activities, but to then say everyone is captured, it's just wrong.
Mahashul, if we're being fair to him, though, I mean, he was quite specific about the context in which he said this. He spoke about highly trained combat members of SAPS. He spoke specifically around the political killings task team and why it is they had to bring in officers from KZN because those who would have been looking at some of those matters in Gauteng were or could not be trusted. So I don't think he meant necessarily the entire rank and file of the force, but rather those who were involved in particular investigations.
I mean, like, to then say, if it's a particular investigation, an investigation is not done by 20,000 men and women that are in Gauteng. It's done at most by 15 officials. Then to say, all right, because these 15 men and women might have been caught in some dealings with criminals, then it means that the entire trained tactical response team and the other units in Gauteng that have foiled, whether it's cash in transit, armed robberies, that have arrested many people in Gauteng, is just not right. And General Mtombeni must come out to say whether the statement that General Khumalo is saying is actually true, because from where I am, it's actually demoralizing to the men and women who are hardworking in Gauteng trying to fight crime, but then to have a general, because if you kind of listen, it says that the only clean policemen and women in South Africa are the only ones that were involved in the political killings task team, and that kind of assertion should not be accepted by South Africans.
Well, I mean, no doubt, the lawmakers, your colleagues, are going to continue posing some questions to General Khumalo because, of course, he will continue giving evidence to the ad hoc committee later today.
EWN Traffic.
Quick traffic update. Amma, what are you seeing at this hour?
Well, Bongani, most routes are clearing off traffic. Even the accident on the N3 South in the Bedford View area has been moved to the side of the road, but traffic remains heavily backed up on the N12 and the R24 West approaching the Kiruli's interchange. This is as you come out of Edenville Road. Do expect about a 20-minute hold up on both routes. So if you're heading towards Modderfontein or even Alexandra, do expect those delays along that route. And then if you're traveling on the N1 North, we've got some delays approaching Winnie Mandela Drive towards Fourways. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702, The World View
with Adam Gilchrist.
Let's catch up with news from elsewhere in the world. Adam, we've now got this extraordinary situation where NATO member countries are putting boots on the ground in Greenland because of a perceived threat from the biggest member of the same alliance. It's unbelievable.
Isn't it extraordinary? Yes. A military reaction to what a friend is saying, not to what the enemy is doing. Although Donald Trump asserts that there are, as he put it a couple of weeks ago, Russian and Chinese ships all over Greenland. There's been no evidence of that. Nobody has seen them. Nobody's presented any pictures or anything. But okay. So I guess this is partly what he did with NATO before. He accused too many NATO countries of not spending enough on their defense and on their military generally. And lo and behold, a lot of countries upped their defense spending. I think the perceived threat from Russia is also the main driver of that. But nonetheless, Donald Trump got what he wanted. He wanted more people to commit more money and take the heat off the American military. So now I guess you could argue that his whole stance on Greenland could be simply to get Europe to help shore up what is essentially a NATO border into the Arctic. So we're seeing a deployment from Germany, France, Sweden, Norway, Finland, the Netherlands, and the UK. At this stage, tiny. I mean, the UK sent one military officer. France, I think, is sending 12, 15 soldiers. A patrol boat has pitched up, which I think is French. Germany is sending a very small contingent, again, half a dozen soldiers, and they'll only be there a few days. But nonetheless, it is that notion, isn't it, of dancing to Donald Trump's tune just a little bit, albeit was this the tune he intended? Not sure.
And isn't politics all about perception? Speaking of Russia, Adam, Ukraine now accusing them of weaponizing winter.
Yeah, what it appears Russia's doing is harnessing two factors of war, a classic battlefield, drone and missile attacks, with the harsh midwinter weather. And of course, it is very much midwinter at the moment across Ukraine and Russia. Russia has experience of this in repelling first Napoleon and then Hitler in midwinter, and they used winter to good effect, albeit grinding, huge loss of life kind of effect. Here we are in Ukraine, constant drone and missile attacks on the energy infrastructure. So gas and oil, and particularly electricity hubs, are being knocked out left, right, and center. And then they get repaired and replaced, but back come the drones and the missiles. So President Volodymyr Zelensky, who's seen power cuts in the capital, Kiev, for instance, affecting thousands and thousands of people, he says Moscow is deliberately exploiting the harsh winter conditions. And I suppose that's the point. If you've got no heat or light, and it's minus 20 Celsius, as it has been in Ukraine the last few days or so, if you've got those two things together, that feels like a weaponizing of winter. And there's no quick escape from this as well. It's another couple of months before it begins to warm up a bit.
Talk to me now, Adam, about Canada's whiskey dispute.
Ah, yes, the war of whispers in business. How's this? So we've got a British-owned, Canadian-made whiskey at the centre of a spat between three Canadian provinces. This is actually sort of coming from the tentacle reach of Donald Trump's tariffs. So the UK drinks giant Diageo, which has a lot of fingers in pies, was announced it was going to shut down a bottling plant in Ontario, its Crown Royal whiskey plant. The Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, duly held a press conference and angrily poured out the contents of a bottle, saying all of the Crown Royal whiskey would be removed from his province's liquor stores. Diageo originally said they wanted to move closer to American consumers. The problem is, Crown Royal whiskey is also bottled and partly made in neighboring Manitoba, and they're actually, according to Diageo, are moving the bottling plant not to the United States, but to Montreal or near Montreal in Quebec province. So two other provinces gain whilst Ontario loses. But in the words of Premier Ford, mark my words, it's all going to Alabama. I quite like that as a phrase for the future. When something's really going a bit skewy, damn and blast, it's all going to Alabama.
We'll leave it there for this morning's Worldview with Adam Gilchrist.
EWN Business.
Gosh, I mean, can we say Muteo Haripe, British American Tobacco, their cigarette unit, that's going to Alabama?
Yeah, it seems so. I think we can use that as a phrase now. A major cigarette manufacturer, British American Tobacco, says it will shut down its only manufacturing site in South Africa by the end of this year. Now, after a 70-year presence, the firm says about 75% of the local cigarette market is now made up of illicit trade. Manufacturers say illicit trade shot up during the 2020 COVID ban of cigarette trade in South Africa. Once the closure of the Heidelberg factory is completed, BAT will no longer manufacture cigarettes in South Africa and will instead rely on imports to supply the domestic market. The company stated that the Heidelberg facility was operating at only 35% capacity, making it commercially unfeasible. BAT has stressed that it's not exiting South Africa entirely. It will retain its secondary listing on the JSE.
And Mr. Price share also going to Alabama.
Still a lot of convincing to do for investors, especially after their acquisition in Europe. Shares at Mr. Price have hit a 52-week low as uncertainty surrounding its 9.7 billion rand acquisition of NKD continues. Now, in December, the local retailer announced that it's buying 100% shares of the European value retailer. NKD is a 60-year-old cash-based EU retailer with over 2,000 stores operating in Germany, Austria, Italy, Croatia, Slovenia, Czech Republic, and Poland. The day Mr. Price actually announced that deal in December, the company's shares plummeted 12%. It's now planning to have a capital markets day. Well, it's going to explain the rationale behind buying this particular business, but a lot of investors still remain quite skeptical.
And we usually talk about the rand falling, but it's the dollar that's going to Alabama.
Yes, the rand has been stronger than the dollar by 13% over the past year and still is in 2026 at 16.35 now against the US dollar, 18 rand 97 against the euro, and at 21 rand 86 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,607 an ounce, while platinum is down 2.5% at $2,340. Brent crude now at $63.49 a barrel. Stephen Crotis will wrap up the week in business later this afternoon.
Promise you I'm using it one last time. Sfiso Zulu, efforts to police religion going to Alabama.
Thanks, Marty. Good morning. Well, the former chairperson of a committee tasked with the regulation of the Christian faith says the process being led by the CRL Commission will not succeed. A public fallout is playing out between the CRL's chair, Togo Mkhwanazi and the appointed chair of its Section 22 committee, Reverend Musa Xulu. Xulu was appointed to head up the committee that will address the abuse and harmful practices within the Christian community. But yesterday, he resigned, citing a toxic environment allegedly made by Mkhwanazi Xaluva. Khomozo Modise reports.
The CRL Commission's chair, Togo Mkhwanazi Xaluva, is involved in a public spat with the man she appointed to chair up a committee, and it's all about whether the Christian faith can be regulated. Reverend Musa Xulu held a press briefing yesterday announcing his resignation from the Section 22 committee, saying he was duped into believing that he was going to conduct research on the history of the Christian faith and its ability to self-regulate, but was later drawn into talks about a legislative framework to regulate Christian churches. Now that a draft framework has been compiled, it must ultimately make its way to Parliament, but Xulu does not believe it will pass.
Parliament will know that there'll be constitutional challenges, but also, as you may know, even the Portfolio Committee of Cocktail, headed by Dr. Zweli Mkhize, is quite unhappy.
Xulu's made strong allegations against the CRL and Mkhwanazi Xaluva, accusing them of suspicion and hostility against the charismatic and Pentecostal Christians. Khomozo Modise, Eyewitness News.
Action SA leader Herman Mashaba says his party will not relent in ensuring President Cyril Ramaphosa is held accountable for the possession of US dollars hidden in furniture on his Palapala farm in 2020. Today, the suspects linked to the theft of the money are due back in court. Meanwhile, Action SA is gearing up for a legal challenge to a top secret report on police conduct in chasing after the stolen money. The party says this year is a year to intensify its anti-corruption efforts, starting with a whistleblowers bill it unveiled in Parliament yesterday. Lindsay Dentlinga reports.
Despite being cleared of misconduct by investigations of the Public Protector and the Reserve Bank, Action SA leader Herman Mashaba says the almost 6-year-old Phala Phala saga is an embarrassment to the GNU, the country and the fight against corruption.
Phala Phala is going to remain a matter that this country is going to discuss until such time that we know how that money came into mattresses in the president's house.
He alleges Ramaphosa is being shielded in the Phala Phala matter by former opposition parties which previously were vocal on the matter but now form part of the government of national unity.
We are not going to let this matter the rest. We know some of the parties who are now enjoying international travel and blue lights are saying they will protect Phala Phala.
Yesterday, Action SA introduced a bill that seeks to better protect whistleblowers and to offer incentives for their disclosures. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol will be jailed for 5 years over abuse of power, obstructing justice and falsifying documents in relation to his failed martial law bid in 2024. This is the first time of the verdicts in 4 trials linked to his shock martial law decree. Although short-lived, the move triggered nationwide turmoil, sparking protests as MPs rushed to the National Assembly to overturn his decision. A judge says Yoon's actions plunged the country into political crisis, noting that Yoon had consistently shown no remorse. Today's ruling offers clues as to how the rest of Yoon's trials could go. His string of charges range from abuse of power to campaign law violations. A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the R24 West. This is as you head towards the Kidulis interchange. Expect about a 15-minute hold up there. There's also queuing traffic on Malibongwe Drive approaching the N1 as well as in Fourways on Winnie Mandela Drive towards the N1.
The top story this hour, the former chairperson of a committee tasked with the regulation of the Christian faith says the process being led by the CRL Commission will not succeed.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
It was alleged that George was removed from his cabinet position under questionable circumstances. Steenhuisen was this week cleared of misappropriating party funds, an allegation made by George. And this week it was announced that a preliminary investigation led by Dennis Breitenbach cleared Steenhuisen. Both men still facing a disciplinary inquiry into whether they breached the party's federal constitution by bringing the party into disrepute. Now George has just quit the DA live on air.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus My Business Assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Hi, this is Teko Modise, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Be a winner who knows when it's time for a timeout and play responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No person under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
This message is brought to you by Eskom. Redefining for a better future.
Are you running a business? Every rand counts. Save electricity and cut costs by switching off lights, computers, and air cons after hours. Use energy-efficient lighting and equipment and make saving electricity part of your daily routine. Smart energy habits mean lower bills and greener business future. Let's power success efficiently.
Let's use electricity wisely. Eskom.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
confirmation from British American Tobacco themselves that they've decided to shut down their last cigarette factory in South Africa. Johnny Maloto is the head of corporate affairs for BAT Sub-Saharan Africa.
There are potentially 230 jobs at risk. Where we are today is that over the last 10 years, we've tried the best to hang on, to not come to this painful decision. But the reality is that we are only operating at just 35% of total capacity at the factory.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB. That's how we're invested in your story. Your story matters. ABSA is a registered FSP.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongs. Talking of something that I really wanted when I was much younger, I really wanted, this, when you watch these Western movies, the cowboys, these double revolvers, they strap around your waist, one this side, one that side. I was so fascinated, with it, and I really wanted one, but nobody would give it to me. Guess what? I bought it for my first son. That was 2003. No, he was born 2003. By the time he was like 4 years old, I went into a shop, and I saw it. I forgot what I went there to do, and I just bought it for him. I really wanted those cowboys toy guns, not the real deal. Anyway, yeah, that's what I really wanted, but I never got it. But I got it for my first son, Titus Rosettenville. Thanks, Bongs.
Morning, Bongani and team. As a kid, I also wanted braces. Never needed them, but always wanted them. And also, for some strange reason, I always wanted to break my arm or my leg just to get the cast and for your friends to write on it.
I love it. I love it. We're talking about those things you wanted when you were a kid. A number of people really wanted braces. Cindy, did you have braces growing up?
I did, and for all parents, I got them at the best. Time. If you don't want your teenage daughter to date anybody, you put them on. You put them on in grade 8 in high school, and you take them off just before the matric dance, and it's a wonder. And then I made the mistake of not.
Now you tell me.
Yeah. Then
I
I made the mistake of not wearing my retainers. And I'm pedantic about that with my kids now. I would love to actually now go back and do like Invisalign or something like that.
Yeah.
To straighten my back, my bottom row, not my top, my bottom.
Because those retainers, gosh, and if you lose them, it's
the whole orthodontic experience. I mean, I'm functioning on one kidney at the moment because I sold the other one to pay for the orthodontics. But it's so hellish expensive that, and my kids at least understand. Yeah. And they're vain enough now because they're on the Snapchat all the time and the Instagram, so they want their teeth straight. So they're so vain they'll keep their
and listen. It makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference because when my daughter was younger, she used to allow me to take a lot more pictures of her than she does these days, which is fine. And I don't do as many because now she's a bit older. But Facebook memories.
I love it.
So every day I'm forever sending her pictures, and the first thing she looks at is the teeth because there's such a marked difference because of all of that. But boy, oh boy, it cost a pretty penny.
So we've got on our wall at home, I've taken photo frames, there's 3 in 1 or whatever, and I've got all them from grade 1 to matric.
Yeah.
And my daughter, my younger one, had had braces in between. So there was a chance that she was going to get her braces off in time and it wouldn't have shown in the photo. And she said, no, they can't take my braces off because before the school photo, because this wall is my teeth journey. She calls it her teeth journey from when she was missing them in grade 1 now to grade 9. She's like got this perfect smile now. So she's very happy with her teeth, her braces journey.
Titus, also appreciating that voice note, talking to us about wanting that cowboy gun and getting it for your son. What's that thing you had to have when you were a youngster that you look back now and you think, gold teeth. I wanted a gold tooth. Yeah, I would have regretted it.
EWN Sport.
All right, SA20 cricket heating up. the last of the round-robin matches.
It is. From now until Monday, everybody's kind of playing for those last two playoff spots because Paul Royals is through. They booked their playoff spot last night with a 6-wicket win over Pretoria Capitals. Hero of the match, Adniel Bartman's 5 for 16 included a hat-trick. Tonight, my Cape Town host Sunrisers Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape are also through to the playoffs. My Cape Town are bottom of the table. They've won only 2 games this season. Busy weekend of football ahead. Sunday's the AFCON final. The host Morocco against Senegal. Kickoff is at 9. Tomorrow in the Premier League, the Manchester Derby United with new caretaker coach Michael Carrick are hosting City. That's at 2:30. City are 6 points behind the league leaders Arsenal. Arsenal play Nottingham Forest at 7:30. Kaizer Chiefs will start the defence of their Nedbank Cup title against Stellenbosch. The round of 32 draw done last night. It has easy openers for Orlando Pirates, who got TTM, and Mamelodi Sundowns, who are up against Gomorrah. In rugby, the final round of the Champions Cup pool stages, the Bulls under pressure tonight, playing Pau at 10, where a win could see them through to the knockouts, depending on other results. Bulls coach Johan Ackerman speaking to Rugby 365.
We know the responsibility that comes to put in a performance, but if we're not controlling the moment, like why we are, what we need to do, stay in that process. If we're focusing on, but if we win this, then this can happen. Then you take away the things that you can control, and you just add to the pressures.
Well, tennis's first Grand Slam of the year, the Australian Open, starts Sunday. World number 2 Carlos Alcaraz doesn't do well at this event. He's never made it past the quarterfinals. It's the only slam missing from his trophy cabinet.
As I said before, I think this is my main goal for this year. So it's going to be really, really interesting for me how I prepared, which I think I just made a really good precision just to be in a good shape. So I'm just hungry for the title, hungry to do a really good result here. So I'm just getting ready as much as I can, and I'm really excited about the tournament begun.
I saw something the other day where he said that he'd be happy to lose the French and Wimbledon if only he can win the Australian Open this year.
Yeah, and then you got to actually wonder how much of that starts to play on you
His
mentally,
mind,
right?
yeah.
Because you and I love to talk about the mental aspect. And if you want something so badly, like the Proteas or the World Cup, like, are you ever going to get it if you're so fixated on it?
That's what Steve Wall used to say about the Proteas. He said they just wanted it too much.
They want it so badly, yeah. So Alcaraz will open his campaign against the unseeded Australian Adam Walton. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
13 to 9, let's wrap up the morning's traffic. Amo, it's been a busy one.
It has been a busy one indeed, Bongani. If you're traveling in Midrand at this particular moment, roads have cleared off. Some roads have cleared off traffic. So if you're in Midrand, the only delay you have to worry about is on the N1 South towards New Road, as well as in Edenville along the R24 West between the Edenville Road exit and the Giludi's interchange. And then traveling in the city area, the CBD, we do have some delays reported along the main Rift Road towards the M2 exit. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
The beard is growing steadily. He's settling into the year. Wow. Clement Manyatela.
Wow. Okay. Hello.
It's going. I think Cindy was just talking about her daughter's teeth journey.
Yeah.
I think somebody's got to do Clement's beard journey.
Okay.
What's on the show this
Coming
morning?
up on the show, the news cycle, hey? So take your pick. So we'll talk about what General Khumalo said yesterday about nearly all police officers in Gauteng working with criminal cartels. The producers contacted the provincial commissioner because we wanted to hear what his take is, and he's denying it. And he says if really there was an assessment, it's never been made available to him. He doesn't know of an assessment that was made, and the revelation that almost all police officers work with the criminal cartel. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the spat between Dion George and John Steenhuisen. We'll touch on Trump yesterday. He now has that Nobel Peace Prize that he's always been obsessed with. But he's not a laureate.
Yeah, he's got the medal.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the prize. He's got the medal.
Yeah, and he's not a laureate, but he's got... I mean, why doesn't he say, Maria, you are the one that was on the ground. You fought the dictatorship of Nicolas Maduro. You keep it, but thank you for the honor. But it's Trump. He wouldn't dare do that. No. So that's on the open line. And then between 10 and 11 o'clock, we do our Across the Desk feature. Today I'm hosting plastic surgeons. Have you ever used their services?
No. For what?
Construction or aesthetics.
What?
What? Anything? I don't know. Are you? It could be anything.
If this was reconstructed and they're doing a bad job,
then they failed. But failed. And then okay, I didn't say that. Okay, at 11 o'clock we're gonna do a relationship feature, and today we're discussing a sex menu and whether it works. This is a sex menu, so a list of sexual preferences, likes and dislikes. Do you have that with your partner?
A menu.
Yeah, that's what
today we are
sexologists call
doing.
it. Yeah, you don't have to write it down, but you can sit and say, "Babe, let's
What's
talk
on the
about our
menu
menu
today?
tonight. What's on the menu today?
All right,
what you doing and what am I doing?" At 11.
Between 9 and 12.
Switching was so quick and easy. I'm happy with the premium that I'm paying now.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a guaranteed premium for 12 months even if you claim? For electrical, tradesman services, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Mzansi, Powerball has reached a mega 165 million rand estimated jackpot this Friday. That's one of the highest jackpots to hit the country. Play Powerball for an estimated 165 million rand jackpot today for your chance at greatness. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongs. Happy Friday. I think that Makashule guy just seeking for attention. We obviously know that it was just a statement. General Tumsani actually meant most, in fact, majority of the subs members are corrupt. It cannot happen that all of them, definitely all of them. That guy just wants attention. Sure. Tala here from Cosmos City.
Good morning, Bongs and your crew and Radio 702 listeners. I'm Kolisi from Sunnyside in Pretoria. I think the other part of General Khumalo's testimony is this one. He sends a WhatsApp to a general communicating about crime. Then he found that same message from a criminal's phone that they have taken from them as a screenshot from that general. What a betrayal. It's so scary.
For anybody who's dealt with betrayal, whether it is in a close relationship, family, romantic, professionally, it hurts. It hurts. Part of it is just the disbelief that how could this have happened? How could you do this to me? Imagine working in this high-stakes environment where lives are at risk, where the consequences of the cases have an impact on the country, and this is what you are dealing with. And if we accept that the general meant it was the majority, yeah, sure, not all, but the majority, that's worrying enough, isn't it?
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Well, you know, of course, if you're a regular listener of this show, we are huge supporters of the arts in all the forms that they come. And South African creativity is heading to Panama. The Moholi Art Institute, led by visual activist Professor Zanele Moholi, is taking a mix of photography, music, dance, and film to the international stage in a one-of-a-kind residency with Panama's Casa Santa Ana Foundation. From powerful visual activism to operatic vocals and dynamic dance, South African artists are fusing art forms to tell stories that connect across cultures. And I'm so pleased to tell you that Professor Zanele Moholi is joining us now on the line. Thank you so much for your time and welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Ngiyabonga molweni, good morning. Thank you so much, Bongani.
I've been such a fan of your work over a long time, and I'm just so pleased that you not only have honor in your own country, but indeed your work is celebrated around the world as this exemplifies, but that you're also putting a spotlight on other artists to tell our stories.
Kunjalo. Nathi, kuthiwa kwaba phambili. Nathi, I was also mentored by many people and who embraced me and loved me and also taught me a lot of lessons. So I'm doing the same to ensure that I open up spaces for many other young artists from home because it's important and it's easy. It's not difficult at all. We share the little resources that we have and also keep on teaching others about the beautiful country where we come from. So it's exciting. We're here to share our own creativity and also we're here to teach the locals what South Africa is all about in terms of creations.
Well, tell us about Faces and Phases. Tell us about the series and why you expect it to resonate with international audiences.
Faces and Phases is a visual project that I started in 2006 exactly. I lost a nephew from suicide, and I thought that I wanted to make sure that I document, the lives of young people who are part and parcel of my extended community or family, which is the LGBTQIA plus community of South Africa. I also lost a friend the same year, Buhle Msibi, who was a brilliant young poet who was not much known, but who's done a lot of healing for many other young poets in South Africa. That was March in 2006. The following year, I lost another friend from HIV complications in 2007, and I thought that it was very, very important to create a visual archive, a living visual archive that speaks to us, that speaks to the moment, that speaks to the South African queer and trans community in a way that's never been done before. So this year marks exactly 20 years of hard work, of a project that is not like resource, but in which I use my own resources to ensure that we are seen, we are recognized, we are heard, we are represented in the most kindest manner, not to only be heard and seen when someone is normal. So I did not really want us to be perceived as victims of hate crimes specifically, which was rife at this time. And I also do not want our community members to only be relevant when it just doesn't matter or doesn't make sense. I just wanted people to be recognized and be respected and be seen in the kindest manner that's like how other fellow South Africans are seen in any public spaces. We come on board as professionals, we come on board as creatives, we come on board as academics. So it's very, very important when our community is presented and represented in different parts of the world is done in this most respectful manner. So it's the biggest archive that comes from Africa, and it's the biggest archive that South Africa has so far that is done by living artists.
I want to pose perhaps a question not so related to this archive as such, but something that I think is topical and maybe close to your heart: the ability of artists to reflect society and not only hold a mirror to that society, but also to be, in a sense, a conscience for that society. Some years ago, of course, some of your work was part of a controversy around free speech, around exactly the ideas of speaking truth to power, and that exhibition defaced at the Goodman Gallery. Is it with some irony that we note today that some of those issues have reared their ugly head once again, where politicians are entering the discussion and trying to silence voices. But the same gallery that stood up for your work is not doing so for other artists now. What was your response to that?
It's very important for me to say that, one, I was never represented by Goodman Gallery, but I see Goodman Gallery as one of the important public space in which artists are allowed a chance to express themselves in the most decent manner. That's number one. And number two, I worked with Stevenson Gallery for many years, for more than 15 years. And it was okay, and I had the support that I needed at times. And I work with other galleries as well, you know, in France and also in the US. And obviously in South Africa, I work with Southern Guild. With that particular issue of whatever that is happening in South Africa right now, I think it would be unfair for me to comment because I have my own personal views. And whatever that is happening in South Africa, just one message to say, let me do not comment. It's a painful story that is going on in South Africa now, and it affects many people. And let me just respect all parties concerned, as hard as it is, looking from far away. And I think that there's a role that is being played by the artists of South Africa, of Africa, of Africans in the diaspora. We have stories to tell. There are very, very important narratives that need to be shared carefully, diligently. And
maybe let's leave it to the art to tell the story, hey?
Yes, let's leave
All
it
right.
to the art. Let art be art. And in as much as art could be political at times, let's keep it there. And if done, it should be done correctly and in the most rightful manner.
All
and
right.
artists of South Africa needs to be resourced and respected. That's all I wish to say.
Okay,
Because there are a
we'll
lot
leave
of
it there.
artists.
That's fine. We'll leave it there. Appreciate your time. Professor Zanele Moholi, South African artist and visual activist working in photography, video, and installation.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of 702 Breakfast. Up next, of course, is the Clement Manyatela Show. Stay tuned for the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Relebohile Mabocha is in the house a little later on. And, of course, Brajan Pullman. But as I say, right now, the Clement Manyatela Show starts.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The Mudimole Regional Court is expected to hand down a ruling today on the trial within a trial in the Phala matter about a witness that gave contradictory evidence. The state witness accused the police of making him sign a statement he didn't understand. Emanuela David and siblings Froliana and Dilinasha Joseph are accused of breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's game farm in 2020 and stealing $580,000